Yo, Atlas speaking and welcome to part 8 of What If I Was Reborn in the Naruto world as Obito Uchiha with the Universal Gamer System. Let the tale begin. Chapter 141, Returning to Konoha to fetch my cousin. Terumi May possesses 2 Kekii Genkai, Lava Release and Boil Release. Her strength and looks both meet Obito's standards. Not to mention, in the original storyline, May ended the Bloody Mist era and brought peace to Kirigakure. In terms of personality, she fits Obito's expectations for an inner circle member. And those long legs, those fishnet stockings. No need to think further, she's the one. Still, before heading out to find May, I should bring my cousin over first. Obito muttered to himself, and while I'm at it, I might as well visit my wife. The joy of Kamui is simple, go wherever you want, whenever you want. Kamui. With glowing Sharingan, Obito disappeared into the Kamui dimension and headed for Konoha. In a blink, he was there. I did promise the third Hokage I'd stay out of the village for a while, so... After pondering for a moment, Obito cast a transformation jutsu as a gesture of respect. Disguised as a random villager, Obito walked into Konoha's hospital. It was still early in the day, so Rin's shift shouldn't have ended yet. With his hands clasped behind his back, Obito started wandering the hospital halls. If you thought he was checking out the cute nurses, you'd be wrong. That's not who he is. He was checking out the cute doctors instead. After a while, though, even that got boring. White stockings everywhere, it was all the same. Bored, Obito started eavesdropping on the patients instead. In one room, an old man was lamenting to the doctor. "Doc, every morning at 8 a.m. sharp, I go to the bathroom. What should I do about it?" The doctor was puzzled. "Sir, isn't a regular schedule a good thing?" The old man sighed heavily. "The problem is, I don't wake up until 9. Doctor." Obito burst out laughing and moved to the next room. This time, a middle-aged woman was complaining. "Doctor, every morning I wake up with terrible back pain. What should I do?" The doctor prescribed her some medication and then suggested, "Ma'am, maybe try waking up in the afternoon instead." The woman. Obito laughed so hard that by the time he finally went to look for Rin, his stomach hurt. Rin had just finished her shift and was rubbing her sore neck as she walked out of the hospital. At that moment, a handsome stranger blocked her path. "Rin-chan!" The familiar voice made Rin freeze in surprise. "Obito-kun? What are you doing?" Obito coughed awkwardly. "Ahem, since I'm still on a mission, I can't reveal my true identity for now." Rin nodded in understanding. "I see." Obito casually reached out, trying to hold her hand, but Rin quickly stepped back. "Obito-kun, considering your current appearance, we should keep some distance for now." She didn't want her coworkers gossiping about her the next day. Obito laughed it off. Fair enough. The two walked and chatted until they reached a quiet forest. There, Obito finally dropped his disguise. With his current chakra control, even the third Hokage's telescope technique couldn't detect him. Telescope technique, a jutsu that uses a crystal ball to remotely observe a specific person, provided their chakra signature is known. Obito pulled Rin into a tight embrace. "My dear Rin-chan, I've missed you so much." Nestled in his arms, Rin asked curiously, "Obito-kun, what mission are you on? How long do you have to stay outside the village?" Obito sighed. "Ah, Rin-chan, you know I can't disclose mission details, it's protocol. All I can say is this mission concerns the fate of the shinobi world. Someone has to step up, and that someone is your husband, me." Rin poked his cheek playfully. "Always bragging. I don't believe you for a second." Obito grinned. "Hee, before I leave again, I'll leave a shadow clone at home. If you ever miss me, just come find it, okay?" Rin nodded with a smile. Then she gave him a side eye. "Obito, where are your hands right now?" Obito chuckled sheepishly. "It's been so long, I just wanted to see if my Rin-chan had gained any weight." Blushing furiously, Rin gave him a light punch. Idiot! Obito leaned closer and whispered in her ear, Rin-chan, how about we stay here for a little while longer? Rin's face turned redder than ever. No way! What if someone comes by? Obito activated Sage Mode without hesitation. Relax, Rin-chan. If anyone so much as breathes within 10 miles, I'll know instantly. You're the worst, Obito-kun. Rin huffed, giving him another punch. 2 hours later. After escorting a thoroughly exhausted Rin back home, Obito returned to his own place and left a shadow clone behind. Alright, now I just need to grab my cousin and head back to Amigakure. Mission accomplished. Once again activating Kamui, Obito infiltrated his cousin's house. Shursui, who was already prepared, was quickly brought into the Kamui dimension. Inside, Shursui crossed his arms and frowned. Obito, I've been waiting for you in Konoha forever. Took you long enough to get me. Shursui's inner thoughts, if I'd known you'd take this long, I wouldn't have rushed to get ready. Obito scratched the back of his head awkwardly. Sorry. Got a bit sidetracked. Speaking of which. He grinned at Shursui, trying to change the subject. I'm planning to recruit a new teammate. Want to come along? Shursui raised an eyebrow. A teammate? Obito nodded enthusiastically. Yup. Currently, his inner circle included Nagato, Konan, Shursui, and Terumi Mei, 4 members in total, perfect for 2 squads. Nagato and Konan would obviously form one team. That left Shursui and Mei as the other pair. Shursui thought for a moment before asking, what's their background? Obito handed him a dossier. Here's what we've got so far. We'll have to dig up more intel ourselves. Shursui opened the file and saw the name Terumi Mei. A missing nin from Kirigakure, huh? As he skimmed through the details, Shursui had no idea how profoundly this woman would impact his life in the future. After finishing the file, Shursui looked up and asked, Obito, why her? Obito smiled. Because, like you, she's a kind person. And drop-dead gorgeous, with killer legs to boot. Oh? Shursui blushed slightly, suddenly feeling curious about his future teammate. Obito clapped him on the shoulder. Alright, according to the intel, she was last spotted in the land of hot water. Let's head there first and see what we can find. Shursui nodded. Understood. Chapter 142, Unexpected Encounters in the Land of Hot Water. The Land of Hot Water. Bustling streets filled with the chatter of locals and travelers alike. Shursui turned to his cousin, his expression tinged with confusion. Obito, what's the plan now? Obito paused for a moment, contemplating, before replying with confidence. The Land of Hot Water. Let's check out that place first. Seeing the determined look on his cousin's face, Shursui felt a sense of relief wash over him. Alright. That's Obito for you. He even knows the intelligence exchange points in the Land of Hot Water. With Obito around, Shursui felt like he had a solid anchor to rely on. Reassurance settled deep in his heart. An hour later. Shursui stood frozen, staring at the building in front of him, his mind riddled with confusion. Ruchuan Hot Springs? Obito slung an arm around Shursui's shoulders and ushered him forward, a grin spreading across his face that rivaled Jiraiya's infamous smirk. Yep. This is the best hot spring in the Land of Hot Water, a must-visit spot. Shursui's mental image of Obito shattered with a resounding crack. The locals say, you haven't been to Ruchuan if you haven't soaked here. Today, your dear cousin will show you the true meaning of relaxation. Obito declared with pride. Splash! Splash! The sound of girls playing in the hot spring echoed through the air. Soaking in the warm water, Obito closed his eyes with a satisfied sigh. How is it, Shursui? Not bad, right? Shursui's face flushed a deep red. He turned his head away, unable to meet the sight of the scantily clad women just meters away. Oh Obito, let's go already. Obito, clearly reluctant, waved a dismissive hand. Just a little longer. Just one more tiny moment. Another hour later. Shursui practically dragged a protesting Obito out of the hot spring. Standing once again on the busy street, Shursui massaged his stiff neck and sighed. Obito, let's split up from here. He cleared his throat, regaining some composure. During a mission, I came across an underground market. I'll check out the local underground market and see if there's any useful intel. Obito nodded, his expression turning serious. Splitting up will help us cover more ground. In that case, I'll head toward Yugakure to try my luck there. He smirked, glancing back at the hot spring. Let's meet back here in 3 days, right at this hot spring. Shursui's mouth twitched. Something told him his cousin chose this spot just so he could soak again in 3 days. With their plan set, the two human radars moved in opposite directions. Humming a cheerful tune, Obito made his way toward Yugakure. Bread is a treasure. Chicken Poop's crispy pleasure barbecue in the outhouse, drunk beyond measure. Yugakure was a peaceful little village, home to a few shinobi despite its modest strength. Visiting the area might just yield some valuable information. Walking through a dense forest, Obito lazily muttered to himself. "Him." Honestly, Kakashi would have been the ideal choice for this role. Kakashi had Kage-level strength, and the two of them shared an unshakable bond. He'd have been perfect. But, considering Itachi might be part of the main team, it's better to leave him in the village leading a squad. It's good to keep our options open. Thinking of Itachi brought a peculiar sense of wonder. In the original storyline, these two barely interacted. They probably saw each other a few times at most. Well, aside from that one time Itachi shoved a crow into Naruto's mouth. And while Naruto doted on Sasuke in canon, now it seems like Itachi's the one doting on Naruto. As the day turned to night, thick clouds obscured the moon, casting the forest in an eerie darkness. The narrow woodland path twisted and turned, shrouded in mist. The silence was unsettling, not even the sound of insects or birds to break it. This is strange. No birdsong, no insects. And Obito sniffed the air, narrowing his eyes. There's the faint scent of blood. With the experience of someone who had claimed hundreds of lives, he recognized the smell instantly. Well then, time to check it out. He quickened his pace, curiosity outweighing caution. With Kamui at his disposal, he had no qualms about taking risks. After all, he could escape nearly any danger. About 100 meters ahead, Obito spotted the first corpse. It was pinned to a tree. Huh, anyone? Continuing forward, he found more bodies nailed to tree trunks, one after another. 50. No, 100 bodies? A faint smile played on Obito's lips. Could it be? I've stumbled upon that guy? He strolled leisurely down the grotesque corridor, observing the macabre scene with a critical eye. Each corpse's mouth was slit open, the edges carved with precision. Their hands were nailed to their chests as if in silent prayer. The sight was undeniably chilling, designed to strike terror into anyone's heart. Well, anyone except Obito. He casually commented on the craftsmanship. Wow, is this a tribute to the Joker? The sliced mouths. Could this guy be a transmigrator too? Fear wasn't something Obito felt here. Instead, he pitied these poor souls. In this world, the powerless are at the mercy of the strong. He sighed and moved on, determination burning in his eyes. But I'll change all of that. Of this, I'm certain. Leaning casually against a tree up ahead was a tall, handsome man in casual attire. Surrounded by corpses and wielding a massive scythe over a meter long, the man seemed anything but ordinary. Hearing approaching footsteps, the man's eyes lit up. He stood and walked toward the sound. Of course, the newcomer was Obito. When he saw who was approaching, recognition flickered in his expression. It was none other than one of his planned external recruits, Haiden. Haydn flashed an innocent smile, exuding an odd charm despite the massive scythe on his shoulder. Hey there, buddy! Interested in joining the Faith of Jashin? Obito feigned ignorance. Faith of Jashin? What's that? Haydn patiently explained, his voice cheerful. The Faith of Jashin is a peaceful religion. Killing people won't get you punished, in fact, it'll bring joy to Lord Jashin. Sounds great, doesn't it? Want to join us? Obito pretended to ponder. Should he agree and then turn the tables on this guy? But just as the thought crossed his mind, the system chimed in with a warning. Ding! Host, don't mess around. The Faith of Jashin worships a higher dimensional being. If something goes wrong, this system can't protect you. Chapter 143, plus one member. Obito grumbled in his mind. Seriously, system bro? Just a few days of silence and you're already this washed up? System, baby's having a rough time. As a fledgling system still trying to get on its feet, the system had a pitiful roster of contractors. Every one of its hosts was still in the training arc phase and lacked the ability to debut properly. In other words, not a single one could earn big money yet. No money, no power, no influence across dimensions. The system let out a small ding and said, "Carrot, this system being so lame? Yeah, that's on you and every one of my hosts." Obito sighed. Okay. Fine. You win. Now, let's shelve this conversation for now. Since pretending to join the cult of Jashin was out of the question, it was time to switch gears and start bluffing. Oi, hey there, buddy. Haydn waved a hand in front of Obito, annoyed by his prolonged silence. So, have you made up your mind yet? Are you joining or not? Obito offered a charming smile. The teachings of the Jashin are intriguing. Let me think about it carefully. How about this, why don't you join my organization first? We can have a proper chat when we have more time. Haydn nodded instinctively. Sure. Wait a damn second. Realizing something was off, Haydn raised his scythe and pressed it to Obito's neck. Hey! I'm the one recruiting you here. What kind of scam is this, trying to flip the script and recruit me? Obito shrugged. You do your recruiting, I do mine. No conflicts of interest, right? Haydn spat on the ground in frustration. Like hell I'd join your lousy group. My sacred mission is to spread Jashin-sama's teachings. His patience was wearing thin, and his expression darkened. The scythe in his hand twitched as if preparing to strike. Relax, Obito said, raising his hands in a placating gesture. Hear me out first, okay? Our operations won't interfere with each other in the slightest. Haydn scratched his slick back hair, suspicious but curious. Oh? Obito spread his arms dramatically, his tone laden with fervor. The Yoru organization is a collective of killers and arsonists, a war machine of unparalleled infamy. We're an ensemble of villains through and through. Here, you'll find comrades who share your worldview. Here, your talents will shine as brightly as they deserve. Our slogan? Grow big, aim high, and achieve glory. Join us, and I promise you'll refine your skills to perfection. Haydn hesitated. He wasn't completely sold, but the pitch was compelling. If nothing else, just learning how to talk like this guy could work wonders for his own recruitment efforts. Sensing Haydn's wavering resolve, Obito pressed on. Relax, joining us won't hinder your usual preaching. You'll still be able to serve Jashin-sama, no problem. After a moment, Haydn lowered his scythe, a sign that he was convinced. Fine. This great Haydn will join your organization. Obito smiled and extended his hand. Excellent. Looking forward to our cooperation. Haydn shook his hand but couldn't suppress his curiosity. By the way, how many members does your group have right now? Obito chuckled. You're the first member of the Yoru organization. Doesn't that make you feel honored? Haydn nodded instinctively. Yeah, it does feel, hold on a second. His voice shot up an octave. So you're saying I'm the only one in this group? Obito coughed awkwardly. Ahem. It's just temporary. Don't worry, I'll find you some teammates soon. Hayden felt thoroughly scammed. Where were the like-minded comrades? Where was the grand ambition to grow and flourish? It turned out the entire organization consisted of just him. I swear to Jashin-sama. Hayden muttered through gritted teeth. Obito patted Hayden on the shoulder, trying to reassure him. All right. Keep preaching here for now. I'll contact you if anything comes up. Hayden shot Obito a sharp glare. TCH. You'd better find me some teammates fast, or I'll carve you up myself. Obito waved him off nonchalantly. Sure. I got it. What an insufferable guy, Obito thought. If it weren't for needing to recruit someone, I'd have taken his head already. With that, Obito strode past Hayden and continued toward Yugakure. A dark alleyway. Shursui examined the grimy wall, where a hidden black symbol was etched faintly. His eyes lit up with excitement. Finally found it! Quickening his pace, he followed the markings until a dilapidated temple came into view. Inside, he discovered a concealed passageway behind the central Buddha statue. Navigating the narrow tunnel, he arrived at a local exchange point. The usual protocol required verification of his identity before obtaining any intel. But Shursui's Crimson Sharingan made short work of the staff's willpower. I need all available information on Terumi Mei, he ordered. The staffer's glazed eyes responded robotically. Terumi Mei, bounty, 45 million ryo. Last sighting, 7 days ago, in southern Yugakure territory. Shursui nodded slightly before asking, what about Uchiha Obito? Uchiha Obito, bounty, 70 million ryo. Current whereabouts unknown. 70 million? Shursui's eyes widened in surprise. What on earth had his cousin done to rack up such a staggering bounty? By comparison, his own 30 million ryo bounty seemed almost trivial. Shursui shook his head, erasing the staffer's memory before leaving the exchange. Outside Yugakure, Obito stretched lazily, muttering to himself. Didn't expect to stumble onto a lead like this. Reports from Yugakure hinted that several skilled water release users had been spotted in the western region about 10 days ago. 3 days have passed since our agreed rendezvous. Time to regroup with my dear cousin. With a crimson gleam in his eye, Obito slipped into the Kamui dimension. Whoosh! Arriving at the entrance to the hot springs, he found Shursui already waiting. Shursui, I've got some intel. How about we discuss it while soaking? Shursui interrupted him with a serious expression. Every second counts. We don't have time for distractions. I've gathered some intel too. Let's combine our findings and zero in on our target. Obito sighed in mild disappointment. Fine. Let's get to it. In the Kamui dimension, the two Uchiha pored over a map of Yugakure, merging their intelligence. Shursui pointed to a specific spot on the map. If my calculations are correct, they'll likely pass through here. Obito mulled it over but couldn't quite grasp Shursui's reasoning. Feigning understanding, he nodded. Exactly what I was thinking. Let's head there. Hopefully, we'll finally catch up with our target, Terumi Mei. Chapter 144, Recruiting Mei Terumi. 5 days later. In a deserted forest, a figure halted, turning around to face her pursuers. How long do you plan to follow me like this, you two sneaky stalkers? Her voice was cold, sharp as a mountain spring, piercing yet oddly refreshing. Though the figure wore a mask, hiding her face except for a pair of striking green eyes, her proud bearing and elegantly toned legs left no doubt in Obito's mind. This was the target of his mission, Kuratsuchi? No. Mei Terumi. Raising his hands in mock surrender, Obito emerged from the shadows alongside Shursui. Both were clad in dark blue robes, faces obscured. Please, don't be alarmed. We're not bad people. We mean no ill will. Obito stammered, his eyes drifting toward Mei's flawless legs and snow-white feet. He coughed, covering his slip. Mei's sharp gaze assessed the two men, a chill glint flashing in her eyes. These two had been tailing her for quite a while, clinging like birds that wouldn't shake loose. You're quite bold for a couple of cowards hiding behind masks, she sneered. Obito opened his mouth to reply, but Mei didn't give him a chance. Her chest rose as she inhaled sharply, and the next moment. Lava release, melting apparition technique. A massive wave of orange slime surged from Mei's lips, thick and viscous, rushing toward Obito and Shisui like vomit unleashed. Ugh, gross. Who in their right mind would kiss this woman? Shaking his head, Obito muttered to himself. But as a wise man once said, fight fire with fire. Obito inhaled deeply, then exhaled a stream of glowing molten lava. Lava release. The two destructive jutsu collided midair with a sickening hiss, the acidic slime clashing against the molten lava in a cacophony of sizzling sounds. Mei's expression shifted, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. Lava release. Are you Rashi from Iwagakure? But then, another possibility dawned on her. She had seen intelligence reports recently. No. You're Uchiha Obito from Konohagakure. Obito sighed dramatically, shrugging as though conceding defeat. Even with all this effort to stay hidden, I still can't escape being recognized. He tilted his head and added with mock humility, what can I say? My charm is impossible to conceal. Mei blinked in confusion. Shisui quietly facepalmed. It's obviously your lava release that gave you away, not your so-called charm. Mei wasn't done, though. She opened her mouth once more, unleashing a billowing cloud of corrosive vapor. Boil release, skilled mist technique. Obito prepared to counter again, but Shisui stepped forward, his crimson Sharingan spinning. Let me handle this. Shisui declared confidently, chakra flaring around him. Susanoo. Emerald green energy erupted around Shisui, forming into the towering half-skeletal frame of a Susanoo. It shielded both men from the oncoming acidic mist. Or so they thought. The mist hissed as it made contact, eating away at the rib-like bones of the Susanoo. Awkward. Obito grumbled, quickly warping the remaining acid into his Kamui dimension before it reached them. Next to him, Shisui scratched the back of his head sheepishly. Well, that didn't go as planned. He muttered, looking like a child caught mishandling his toys. Obito rolled his eyes, giving his younger companion's head an affectionate pat. Turning his attention back to Mei, he found her stance had shifted. Realizing her attacks weren't working, Mei's expression grew wary. What do you want from me? She asked quietly. Obito removed his mask, revealing a calm smile. Relax. I just want to talk. If I wanted you dead, you'd already be a corpse. Mei's eyes narrowed dangerously. Is that a threat? Obito tilted his head as if considering the question before nodding lightly. Think of it more as a fact. He let his chakra flare, its oppressive weight pressing down on Mei like a tidal wave. For a moment, she felt as though she was standing before a tailed beast. Then, as abruptly as it began, the pressure vanished. Obito crossed his arms, a disarming smile on his lips. Can we talk now? Mei hesitated before finally giving a small nod. Obito began speaking, explaining the hidden dangers and schemes that threatened the world. Minutes passed, and as Mei listened, her skepticism gave way to shock. By the time Obito finished, she understood the magnitude of the situation. What do you want from me? She asked again, her voice quieter now. Obito's expression grew serious. The enemy's plans will engulf the entire shinobi world. No one, neither Konoha nor Kirigakure, will be spared. He extended his hand toward her. I want you to join the Akatsuki. Help us stop this before it's too late. Mei frowned. The Akatsuki? You mean that rogue group from Amagakure? Obito nodded. The Akatsuki's mission is to create a united, peaceful shinobi world. It aligns with Konoha's will of fire. With your help, we can protect Kirigakure and ensure its independence. Shisui blinked, amazed. When did my cousin get so good at recruiting people? May remained cautious. And how can I trust you? You don't have to trust me, Obito replied smoothly. Just trust the logic of mutual benefit. Together, we win. Apart, we lose. After a long pause, May finally relented. Fine. I'll join you. But I expect you to keep your word. Obito grinned, shaking her offered hand. Of course. I never lie to a woman. Welcome aboard. With that, the Akatsuki gained another powerful ally. Chapter 145, The Fifth Mizukage. Cousin, YYDS. You actually managed to convince May. At this moment, Shisui's admiration for Obito soared to unprecedented levels. Mai Terumi turned her sharp gaze toward Obito and spoke, her tone firm yet laced with underlying emotion. Since we're allies now, I have one small request. Obito raised an eyebrow in mild surprise but nodded. Go ahead. Mai gritted her teeth, her voice filled with resolve. If we capture the bastards behind all of this, hand them over to me. I want to tear them limb from limb. Recalling the tragic death of her dear friend Ao, Mei's heart clenched painfully. Her eyes burned with grief and anger. Shisui was stunned, completely dumbfounded. His expression said it all. Omega Delta Omega. Cousin, is this the gentle you were talking about? Do you even understand the meaning of that word? Shisui silently vowed to never believe a single word his cousin said again. Obito didn't hesitate for long before giving a straightforward reply. If we catch them, do as you wish. Mei's eyes flickered briefly with a hint of gratitude, but she said nothing more. Now that they had formed an alliance, Obito wasted no time. He led Mei directly into the Kamui dimension. After all, his identity had already been revealed once, and there was little point in hiding now. In the Kamui dimension, Obito gave Shisui's shoulder a firm pat. Shisui, your performance just now was impressive. You've already mastered the first stage of Susanoo. Keep it up. Shisui's face lit up with a smile. Understood. Amigakure, Hidden Rain Village. In Nagato's office, Obito introduced their new ally. This is Mai Terumi from Kirigakure. Nagato offered a warm smile. Nice to meet you. I'm Nagato. Conan, less welcoming, simply gave a nod. Conan. Mai inclined her head gracefully. Pleasure to meet you all. Obito clapped his hands together, his tone upbeat. Well, from now on, we're comrades. Let's support each other and work together closely. He glanced around at the group. For safety, I propose we operate in pairs from now on. That way, we'll always have backup if we run into trouble. Conan spoke up immediately. I'm teaming up with Nagato. We already agreed on that. Obito nodded, then turned to Mai. Mai, would you pair up with Shisui? After a moment's thought, Mai nodded slightly, her chin lifting with quiet confidence. I don't mind. Shisui's face flushed, his nerves betraying him. He was not used to dealing with women, especially ones as formidable as Mai. Nagato stretched lazily. I've set up everything here in Amigakure. When do we move out? Obito's expression grew serious. As soon as possible. The enemy won't give up on Kirigakure easily. They'll likely make another attempt to manipulate the village. Whether they succeed or not, the damage could be catastrophic. We can't let that happen. He turned to Mai. Mai, you know Kirigakure best. What's our best course of action? Mai pondered for a moment before responding. We should seek out Elder General. If we gain his support, I'll have the leverage needed to take control of the village. Seeing their puzzled expressions, she elaborated. Elder Jin is a powerful figure in Kirigakure, equal in authority to the Mizukage. He has the power to oversee all village affairs. Conan gave Nagato a light slap on the back. So, if we drive out the enemy and earn Elder Jin's approval, we'll consider this mission a success. Obito smiled and nodded. Exactly. Shursui, any additional thoughts? Caught off guard, Shursui frantically shook his head. None at all. Obito's eyes glinted with determination. Then let's move out, everyone. Kirigakure, Water Country. In the Mizuki's office, Kujo Kuratsuru had returned for several days now. With the fourth Mizuki dead, he had resumed his position as leader without resistance. Gazing out the window, he murmured to himself. It seems their attention isn't here. Perhaps it's time to recall Setsuna-sama. But before he could act, the space in his office began to ripple unnaturally. Not good. Kuratsuru's face darkened as he leapt out of the window. Midair, he activated a summoning jutsu, and a massive clam appeared, encasing him in its shell. In an instant, both vanished in a puff of smoke. Obito emerged fully, clicking his tongue in mild annoyance. TCH, quick on his feet. From the looks of it, Uchiha Setsuna likely wasn't here, nor had she left any traps behind. Figures, Obito muttered. Someone like her wouldn't take such risks. As the group exchanged glances, Conan spoke hesitantly. Did we scare them off? Shursui chuckled wryly. Seems like it. Conan pouted slightly, puffing her cheeks. Clearly, she found this anticlimactic. Seeing her adorable expression, Nagato couldn't help but laugh. Well then, shall we follow Mei and visit Elder Jin? Obito rubbed his chin thoughtfully. The question is whether Elder Jin will judge us based on our origins. Mei interjected confidently. Don't worry. Follow me. Elder Jin is wise and doesn't hold prejudice based on one's background. Obito let out a relieved sigh. Good. To avoid unnecessary trouble, we'll use Kamui to get there directly. Before Nagato could protest, Obito clapped a hand over his mouth. No need to say it, Nagato. I already know what you're thinking. MMPH. Did you wash your hands after using the bathroom? Moments later, the five appeared inside Elder Jin's residence. Seated at a table, the elder sipped tea calmly. Though surprised by their sudden arrival, he quickly masked it and gestured for them to sit. Mei, and our distinguished guests from afar. Please, take a seat. His poise and grace immediately conveyed his extraordinary presence. The six began their discussion, with Mei leading most of the conversation. Elder Jin listened intently, his expression thoughtful. Half an hour later, the group departed, having secured the elder's approval. Mei's face showed both excitement and unease. Obito grinned, bowing slightly. From now on, we should address you as the fifth Mizuki. In the 52nd year of the Hidden Leaf's calendar, Mei Terumi officially became the fifth Mizuki. Chapter 146, Kisame and Shursui's Breaking Point. Mizuki's office. Mei Terumi sat at her desk, her gaze sweeping across the room. No matter how much she looked, she couldn't shake the surreal feeling. Just days ago, she was a rogue ninja of Kirigakure. Now, she had ascended to the position of fifth Mizuki. The transformation in her status felt like something out of a dream. Standing nearby, Obito chuckled and teased her. How does it feel, Mizuki-sama? Mei glanced at him, her expression cold and indifferent. Do you need something? Oh! This woman is so cold. Obito scratched his messy hair awkwardly. Well, I came to ask for someone. Mei's tone remained icy. Who? Kisame Hashigaki, Obito said. I need him for something. Mei raised an eyebrow at that. Kisame Hashigaki? You might not be able to handle him. Obito smiled. That's why I also need one other thing from you, the head of Suikazan Fuguki. Mei studied him thoughtfully, her expression calm. So that's your angle. Obito shrugged. He's already guilty of treason for selling intel to neighboring countries. Better to let me put into good use. Mei nodded slightly. Do as you wish. I'll clean up afterward. Much appreciated, Obito replied with a grin. 10 minutes later. A man with deep blue hair and shark-like features strode into the Mizuki's office. His azure skin, sharp teeth, and golden eyes marked him unmistakably as Kisame Hoshigaki, the man known as the tailed beast. Kisame's voice carried a hint of confusion. Mizuki-sama, you called for me? He didn't understand why the newly appointed Mizuki wanted to see him alone, nor why the strange man in the bizarre white mask was standing at her side. Is this guy sick or something? Wearing a cloak and mask in this heat. Mei crossed her legs, causing Obito to momentarily lose his composure. After shifting to a more comfortable position, she sighed contentedly and gestured toward Obito. Not me. This guy has business with you. Let's call him a friend. Oh? Kisame turned his amused gaze to Obito. And what does you want with me? Obito spoke slowly, his tone deliberate. The third Mizuki vanished suddenly. The fourth Mizuki's behavior changed drastically. Now the fifth Mizuki takes charge in a time of crisis. Do you know the common thread between these events? Kisame's sharp teeth glinted as he grinned. I've heard some rumors. They say the previous two Mizuki were under someone's control. Obito nodded. Exactly. Kisame chuckled darkly. As I thought. The world is full of lies. Obito smirked. Indeed. Just like how you killed all your comrades to protect intel, only to find out that your superior, Fuguki, was selling village secrets to other nations. Kisame's eyes flickered, his tone layered with complex emotions. You know quite a lot, don't you? Obito removed his mask, his gaze piercing as he spoke meaningfully. If you think everything in this world is a lie, let me guide you to the truth. Kisame glanced at Mei, who remained silent, then turned back to Obito with a smirk. Oh? And how exactly do you plan to do that? Obito snapped his fingers. It's simple. Follow me and keep cutting down enemies. But from now on, your blade will never fall on comrades. Every strike you make will be to protect others. Those who threaten Kiridakure still lurk in the shadows, biding their time. Join me, and together, we'll cut through the lies of this world. Mei scoffed quietly from the side. Ha! Men and their tongues. Kisame fell silent, his expression contemplative. Cut through the lies of this world, huh? Obito nodded. Exactly. And the first target is Suikazan Fuguki. I hear he has a fine blade that would suit you well. Kisame turned to Mei again. She gave a begrudging nod, clearly displeased. If you want to go with him, then do as he says. Humph. Taking my village's sword to win favor? Disgusting. Kisame's grin widened into what he probably thought was a kind smile. Very well. I will follow you. Please wait a moment. With that, he left the office. Obito knew Kisame was off to deal with a mini-boss. If all went well, they might even get some elite loot out of it. After Kisame left, Mei turned her cold gaze to Obito. Happy now? If you're done, leave. Obito scratched his nose awkwardly. He couldn't figure out how he had offended her so badly. When Kisame's done, I'll take him and leave Kiridakure. The rest is up to you. Just make sure you and Shursui stick together. Don't give the enemy any openings. Mei nodded slightly, her sharp eyes cutting toward the door, clearly signaling it was time for him to leave. Obito raised his hands in mock surrender as he exited the office. Fine, I'm going. Later that night. Shursui entered the room silently, his presence nearly undetectable. He stood quietly to the side, watching Mei handle her work. As night fell, Mei stretched lazily and looked at Shursui. Let's go. All right. The two left the Mizuki tower together. Mei led him to a small house, opening the door and stepping inside. When she noticed Shursui hesitating at the threshold, she raised an eyebrow. Come in. Oh. Once inside, Mei removed her shoes casually. You can stay in the living room for now. I'll have someone bring a bed in a few days. Shui remained silent. Mei frowned. What? Does that bother you? And no. It's just. Are we really living together? Shui's mind raced, especially as Mei slowly removed her stockings, her back to him. He felt his nose almost start to bleed. Help me! I don't want to live like this. When Mei turned around and saw his flushed face and nervous demeanor, her expression grew amused. Are you embarrassed? Shui ducked his head, too mortified to respond. Mei's lips curved into a sly smile. You really are nothing like your cousin. Chapter 147, Let Me Feed You Samahata. The Land of Fire's Border. A well-known crossroads where spies from all nations converged. Two figures strolled back and forth in an almost exaggerated manner, as if desperate to be noticed. One was dressed in the signature flak jacket of a Konoha Jonin, complete with a leaf forehead protector. His glowing red Sharingan spun lazily in his eyes, a dead giveaway that he belonged to the infamous Uchiha clan. The other had a shark-like face, his grin wide and unervingly cheerful. Slung across his back was a massive sword wrapped in bandages, as conspicuous as its wielder's features. The two were none other than Obito and Kisame. Your smile is sweeter brighter than the midday sun, Tinger-style vocals. Obito sang casually, parodying a song he'd heard, his voice tinged with mockery. Obito had recently learned that his bounty reached a staggering 70 million ryo. So, he devised a plan, use himself as bait and see what kind of big fish he could reel in. Let's hope the prey takes the initiative to come to us, Obito murmured to himself. Saves me the trouble of hunting him down. This time, his target was none other than the ultimate mercenary of the ninja world, Kakuzu. A man who had been working since the Warring States period, only to have all his hard-earned savings squandered by his spendthrift teammate, Konan. It was said that when Kakuzu was revived via Edo Tensei, his first action was to kill a few ninja and cash in their bounties, only to find his lifelong savings had been completely wiped out. Obito, Kisame asked quietly, are you sure he'll show up? Obito nodded confidently. That guy worships money. I'd say there's an 80% chance he'll come. With our combined bounty, there's no way Kakuzu would let this opportunity slip by. Meanwhile, 800 miles away, a man with jet black hair and piercing green eyes held a ninja by the throat, effortlessly lifting him off the ground with one hand. Humph. These low-level ninja are barely worth anything, he muttered coldly, snapping the man's neck and discarding the body without a second glance. Dozens of corpses littered the ground beneath his feet. Kakuzu turned and walked away, his expression indifferent. I need to find some real prey, targets that are actually worth my time. Otherwise, this is just a waste. And time was money. 3 days later. In a secluded bamboo grove, Obito and Kisame abruptly stopped in their tracks. They turned to face the figure who had appeared behind them. Heh. Took you long enough to show up, Obito said with a sly grin. The man's jade-green eyes flickered, betraying a hint of surprise. Oh. Seems you were expecting me. With Kisame at his side, Obito strode forward confidently, his gait exuding arrogance. That's right. Kakuzu, the immortal ninja, I'd like to invite you to join Akatsuki. Akatsuki? Kakuzu frowned. It's quite the fascinating organization, Kisame interjected with a shark-like grin. I hope you won't refuse this opportunity. Kakuzu scoffed. I couldn't care less about your little club. I only care about one thing, money. And you too are worth a fortune. Obito tilted his head, his Sharingan glinting playfully. Ah, so negotiations have failed. That's fine. I didn't expect this to be easy anyway. Kakuzu clenched his fists, a deadly aura emanating from his body. Stubborn prey. I'll make you my bounty, one way or another. Obito smirked, his voice dripping with amusement. Oh? You think you can take me on? Interesting. I was getting bored of talking, anyway. As the two prepared to clash, Kisame suddenly spoke up. Leave this one to me. Obito raised an eyebrow, surprised by Kisame's request. You want to test out your new blade? Very well, I'll leave him to you. Thank you. I won't disappoint you. Kisame unslung Samahana, its jagged, bandaged form radiating menace. Kakuzu watched the exchange coldly. It doesn't matter if both of you attack me at once. The only question is, who dies first? Kisame grinned wickedly, pointing Samahana at his opponent. Arrogant, aren't you? Let me show you the price of underestimating me. The two juggernauts charged at each other. Midway through his sprint, Kakuzu launched an arm from his body, the limb shooting forward like a coiled whip. A swarm of black tendrils burst forth, slicing through the air like blades, aiming straight for Kisame. Unfazed, Kisame raised Samahana and swung it horizontally. The tendrils' momentum was halted as they disintegrated on contact with Samahana's jagged surface. Kisame stomped the ground, propelling himself high into the air. The bandages unraveled, revealing Samahana's grotesque, spiked form. It gleamed ominously as Kisame brought it down in a devastating arc. Kakuzu's pupils narrowed. With a swift kick off the ground, he leapt back, narrowly evading the strike. As he retreated, Kakuzu launched his second arm, aiming it directly at Kisame. Strangulation. Kisame smirked, retreating while countering with a long-range move of his own. Samahana's hilt extended like a whip, the blade's jagged body twisting and slashing at Kakuzu. Kakuzu maneuvered his tendrils with precision, blocking the attack mid-air. Both combatants landed back on solid ground. Kakuzu retracted his arms, while Kisame pulled Samahana back to its original form. Though they seemed evenly matched, Kakuzu's gaze darkened. He had taken a small loss. Your blade. It absorbs chakra, Kakuzu observed coldly. Kisame chuckled darkly. Sharp, aren't you? Before Kakuzu could respond, Kisame's chest swelled as he inhaled deeply. Water style, exploding water colliding wave. An ocean of water erupted from Kisame's mouth, transforming the area into a massive, surging flood. Within seconds, the bamboo grove had become a vast expanse of open sea. Towering waves, tens of meters high, crashed toward Kakuzu. TCH, Kakuzu muttered, momentarily stunned by the sheer volume of chakra fueling the technique. This guy's chakra reserves are absurd, Kakuzu thought, retreating to evade the oncoming waves. Kisame grinned maniacally. Ha! You're in my territory now. He clasped his hands together, his fingers forming rapid seals. Water style, 1,000 hungry sharks. A horde of sharks surged from the water, their fins slicing through the surface in a horrifying display of numbers. Even Kakuzu couldn't suppress a shiver at the sight. From within his body, a white mask emerged, its grotesque visage twisted into a malevolent grin. Wind style, pressure damage. A high-pressure vortex of wind tore through the horde, shredding the sharks into a cascade of water droplets. The resulting wind blades continued forward, hurtling toward Kisame. Chapter 148, Kakuzu, the Trustworthy Treasurer. Kisame's reflexes weren't slow. The instant the shark shattered, his hands had already formed seals. Tiger, snake, rat, snake, tiger. Water style, water formation wall. A massive wave, 4 to 5 meters thick, surged up, crashing against the incoming wind blades. The fierce wind blades pierced into the torrential water, only for both to dissipate in an explosive spray. But just as the spray cleared, Kisame's pupils contracted sharply. Another white mask had climbed onto Kakuzu's shoulder. Lightning style, false darkness. Sharp lightning shot forth like a spear, tearing through the air with terrifying force. Whoosh! The bolt reached Kisame in an instant, poised to deliver devastating damage. At that moment, the observer, Obito, intervened. Kamui! With his crimson eyes glowing, he nonchalantly absorbed the lightning, redirecting it elsewhere. Kisame wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Thank you for the save. Obito smiled. It's nothing. Leave the rest to me. Hearing this, Kisame withdrew his chakra. As you wish. The lake beneath their feet vanished abruptly. Kakuzu sneered. Finally decided to intervene, huh? Fine. Let's settle this all at once. Countless black threads erupted from Kakuzu's body as he activated his Earth Grudge Fear mode. A dense swarm of threads filled the air, surging toward Obito and Kisame. Obito grinned. Let me show you my new technique. The Mangekyo Sharingan in his eyes spun wildly as he formed seals. Kamui, Lightning Dance. A black flash of lightning emerged, darting erratically like a monkey through the sea of threads, leaping and rebounding incessantly. Kakuzu gasped. What the? Wherever the lightning struck, it created a vacuum, obliterating the threads. Nearly half the swarm was erased, as if wiped clean by an invisible eraser. This isn't good. The masks on Kakuzu's shoulders activated simultaneously. Fire style, intense pain. Wind style, pressure damage. A sea of fire surged forth, intensified by roaring winds, engulfing Obito. Against the overwhelming blaze, Obito's figure seemed small and insignificant. If that's how you want to play. Obito calmly unleashed his signature move. Fire release, Great Fire Annihilation. Using Kamui, he absorbed Kakuzu's ninjutsu, only to redirect it with amplified force. The spiraling flames roared upward, coiling into a serpentine vortex that devoured Kakuzu whole. Kisame watched in awe, his blood surging with excitement. Obito is incredible. When the flames subsided, all that remained of Kakuzu was a tangled mess of threads. Slowly, they reassembled, piecing together a humanoid form. Obito gazed down at Kakuzu. You've lost, Kakuzu. Kakuzu's voice was low and cold. That power of yours. What is it? Obito laughed heartily. Ha ha ha. It's the power of the Uchiha. Join me, and I'll grant you a place where even eternity has meaning. Kakuzu stood, brushing himself off with a disgruntled grunt. If your so-called Yoru organization has others like you, then I'll join. This way, I'll have more opportunities to earn higher bounties. Obito nodded casually. Ah, yes, sure, sure. Fine, fine, whatever you say. Although Kakuzu saw through the facade, he didn't care. He had his own plans. Looking at Obito, Kakuzu spoke firmly. I sense the scent of money in your organization. I, Kakuzu, am well versed in financial management. Let me be your treasurer. Obito inhaled sharply. SSSS. You're almost a century old, and you want to multitask? People might think we're exploiting the elderly. After a moment of thought, Obito nodded. All right. You're hired. A gleam flashed in Kakuzu's eyes. Good. Consider it settled. Moved by Obito and Kisame's camaraderie, Kakuzu joined the Yoru organization. Obito turned to him. There's someone in the land of hot water, hidden. He's one of us. Like you, he's immortal. You two will make a good team. Kakuzu frowned. I prefer working alone. Obito grinned. That guy loves killing. With his help, your money-making efficiency will skyrocket. Kakuzu sighed. Fine. If he's part of the organization, I'll tolerate him. Obito waved dismissively. Good. Go now. I'll contact you if needed. Kakuzu shot him a sharp glance before turning and leaving. Kisame chuckled darkly. What a peculiar guy. Obito smiled. Indeed. Chapter 149, Sasori of the Red Sand. Land of Wind. The vast desert stretched endlessly, painted in monotonous shades of yellow. Howling winds roared across the dunes, kicking up waves of golden sand like a restless sea. A lone figure emerged from the smoke and ruin, his crimson hair flowing in the wind. What a pathetic village, he muttered, his voice devoid of emotion. Not a single soul worth using as material. With a faint sigh, he continued, let's hope the next one has more potential. Suddenly, an invisible ripple coursed through the air, stirring the sandstorm around him. The red-haired man shielded his face with a hand, narrowing his eyes toward the disturbance. Two figures materialized amidst the swirling sands. One of them, lean and casual, spoke with a mocking tone. An entire village in the land of wind, obliterated in a single day. At least, that's the rumor. The man with the orange mask, Obito, smiled faintly at the red-haired figure before him. I take it this was your handiwork, Sasori of the Red Sand? The red-haired man, Sasori, regarded Obito coldly. And who exactly are you? Obito chuckled, his tone theatrical. We're here to invite you to join the Akatsuki. Sasori scoffed. Akatsuki? Never heard of it. Obito spread his arms dramatically. We seek your power to help us achieve our goals. Join us, lend us your strength. Sasori's lips curled into a faint sneer. Heh. Bold of you to assume I'd be interested. Obito traced the edge of his mask with a finger. The Akatsuki can offer you safety and resources. Complete the tasks assigned to you, and no one will interfere with your work. Sasori's smile deepened, his expression unreadable. Interesting offer, but... He pulled a scroll from his back, unrolling it swiftly onto the ground. Obito raised an eyebrow. What are you doing? Sasori's voice was icy. Unfortunate for you, I don't need protection. Allow me to demonstrate. Biting his thumb, Sasori pressed a bloody hand against the scroll, activating its seal. A puff of smoke erupted, revealing a humanoid puppet. The puppet floated menacingly in the air, its deep blue hair and golden eyes glinting ominously beneath its flowing gray cloak. Obito sighed. The third Kazekage, I presume? A shame, really. Such a promising career, cut tragically short. And now, not even death brings peace. He chuckled. First, Orochimaru toys with his soul, and now this, turning him into a puppet. Quite the irony. Beside Obito, Kisame grinned savagely. Seems like this one wants to fight. Leave him to me. Obito gave an amused nod. By all means. Kisame, ever the battle-hardened warrior, unsheathed his massive blade, Samahana, with an eager grin. Sasori's gaze sharpened as he muttered, at last, some useful materials. The last village was such a disappointment. But now, standing before me are two excellent specimens. He raised his arms, chakra threads shimmering faintly as they connected to the puppet. The third Kazekage lunged forward, twin blades extending from its sleeves, gleaming coldly in the sunlight. Kisame's grin widened as he hefted Samahana. Guess we'll have to convince you the hard way. Sasori smirked. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Once I'm done, I'll dissect you both, inside and out. The fight erupted with explosive intensity. Kisame charged, swinging Samahana in a wide arc. The puppet evaded effortlessly, its body twisting unnaturally midair. Thousand-arm manipulation. Sasori shouted. The puppet's left arm activated, releasing countless mechanical limbs bristling with weapons. Kisame dodged, but the sight of the writhing arms sent a shiver down Obito's spine. That's nightmare fuel, Obito muttered under his breath. From the mechanical limbs, a barrage of poison-laced needles and hidden blades shot toward Kisame. With a derisive snort, Kisame spat out a torrent of water. Water-style, exploding water shockwave. A massive wave surged forth, swallowing the incoming projectiles. The battle continued, Sasori's puppet releasing clouds of black iron sand, forming lethal weapons midair. Magnet-style, iron sand drizzle. A storm of sharp iron needles rained down, aiming to pierce the two opponents. Obito grinned darkly. A trap worthy of a master craftsman, but futile. With a swirl of space-time, the projectiles passed harmlessly through him. What kind of power is that? Sasori muttered, eyes narrowing. Meanwhile, Kisame unleashed Samahata's monstrous form, summoning a colossal water shark that devoured the iron spears mid-flight, growing larger with each bite. Sasori's expression tightened. A technique that absorbs chakra. Impressive. With a swift motion, he unfurled another scroll. Red Secret Technique, Performance of 100 Puppets. Hundreds of puppets filled the battlefield, armed and ready to overwhelm. Obito watched with a mixture of fascination and amusement. Now this is getting interesting. Chapter 150, I Understand Art 2. A swarm of puppets filled the sky, their menacing forms striking fear into anyone who dared to look. Ha! Sasori shouted sharply. Hundreds of crimson-cloaked puppets brandished deadly weapons, gleaming like a murder of crows descending upon their prey. With a deafening boom, the tide of puppets surged toward the massive shark figure. Their relentless assault left the shark's form shrinking smaller and smaller until it vanished altogether. Watching from the sidelines, Obito muttered to himself. I guess it's time to step in. If this went on, one of them was bound to get seriously hurt. Considering they'd all be comrades soon, there was no need to take it that far. With that thought, Obito leaped forward, heading straight for the real Sasori hidden amidst the hundreds of puppets. Sasori's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Huh? The chakra threads from his regeneration core flicked through the air, commanding his puppets to intercept. But what happened next left him stunned. Obito passed through the storm of blades and spears like a ghost, weeding through the horde of puppets without taking a scratch. What kind of trickery is this? Sasori's expression darkened. He quickly retreated, pulling his puppets back to guard his core. At the same time, the Kazekage puppet lunged forward to trap Obito in a pincer attack. It's useless! Obito grinned, phasing through the Kazekage puppet as if it didn't exist. In an instant, he was upon Sasori. Kamui! With a twist of his fingers, Obito severed the dense cluster of chakra threads attached to Sasori's chest. A chorus of mechanical creaks followed. Deprived of their chakra, the puppets froze midair, then plummeted to the ground like broken toys. Sasori scowled but kept his voice steady. TCH. Cross formation. The puppets dissolved into a cloud of smoke, returning to their scrolls. I lost. Looks like I don't have much choice. Take me with you. Obito smirked. Oh? You're surprisingly cooperative. Sasori chuckled softly. I'm simply curious to meet the other members of this so-called Yoru organization. If they're as fascinating as you two, perhaps they'll inspire new artistic pursuits. Obito laughed lightly. You'll see soon enough. Everyone in the Yoru is talented, and, best of all, they're great conversationalists. The land of hot springs. Haydn was yelling at Kakuzu, his finger jabbing furiously toward the latter's mask. Bleep, you miserable, bleep, ing bastard. Don't interrupt my rituals. Kakuzu's forehead twitched, dark threads writhing under his skin as he resisted the urge to sew Haydn's mouth shut. Do you really need all this theatrical nonsense? Can't you simplify it? Haydn spat to the side, scowling. You don't get it. Jashin-sama loves guys with a sense of ritual. Stay out of it if you don't understand. Kakuzu's eyes glinted ominously. Maybe I should kill this idiot. He'd fetch a decent price. But after a moment of consideration, Kakuzu reined in his murderous intent. No. As insufferable as he is, he's a useful partner. He speeds up the money-making process. There's no need to mess with my finances. Despite their frequent clashes, sometimes literal, they had a functional partnership. Haydn sought to sacrifice powerful foes to Jashin, while Kakuzu sought their corpses for bounties. A mutually beneficial arrangement, if a volatile one. 10 minutes later, Kakuzu tapped his foot impatiently. Are you done yet? Shut it, you, bleep, ing, bleep. Kakuzu's patience snapped. With one swift motion, his hand pierced through Haydn's chest. Oi! You, bleep, ing piece of, Haydn raised his scythe, slashing it down at Kakuzu. the land of Earth. Obito stood some distance away, staring at a young boy, his expression unreadable. "This isn't what I expected," he muttered. The boy was around 8 or 9 years old, with golden hair like sunlight and bright blue eyes full of mischief. His round, cherubic face made him look like a handcrafted porcelain doll. Sasori gave Obito a skeptical glance. "Leader, this is your perfect candidate? Is it too late to back out of this mission?" Sasori thought to himself. Kisame's grin turned shark-like. "Obito-san, are we kidnapping children now?" Obito rubbed his temple through his mask. "Don't say that. Let me think." "Don't ask who think is, either." This was turning into a disaster. Obito hadn't realized this version of Deidara was barely 10 years old. How was he supposed to recruit him without looking like a certain snake-themed creep? As Obito wrestled with his moral dilemma, the boy spun around, planting his hands on his hips. "You idiots have been standing there forever. What do you want with me, huh?" The group froze. Sasori silently pulled out a scroll, while Kisame hefted his samahata with a predatory grin. Obito quickly stepped in, waving his hands. "Calm down! Calm down! Let me handle this." He approached the boy cautiously. Deidara eyed him suspiciously, pulling a lump of clay from his pocket. "I'm warning you. Try anything funny, and I'll blow you to bits." Obito knelt to the boy's level, removing his mask to reveal a friendly, or so he hoped, smile. "Hey, relax. Want to see some real art?" Deidara's eyes lit up. You know art?" Sasori raised an eyebrow, murmuring to Kisame. "Since when does the leader know art?" Kisame chuckled darkly. "To be honest, I have no idea." Sasori turned away in exasperation. "All right, kid," Obito said, forming hand seals. "Watch closely." With a puff of smoke, a raggedly dressed woman appeared, swaying seductively. Deidara looked unimpressed. "That's art?" Sasori groaned in dismay. "Leader, you're tarnishing the concept of art." Kisame just grinned. Didn't know Obito was into this kind of thing. Obito coughed awkwardly. "Wait for it." The woman blushed deeply, then exploded in a shower of sparks. Deidara froze, his eyes widening before grabbing Obito's sleeve. "You get it too? Art is." Explosion, Obito finished with a grin. Deidara's face lit up like he'd found his soulmate. Chapter 151, Beating the Snake, Claiming the Prize. Deidara's eyes sparkled with excitement as he looked at Obito, standing before him. Inwardly, Obito felt a tinge of melancholy. In the original storyline, Deidara's fate was quite tragic. Manipulated into joining Akatsuki by Itachi, then forced to self-detonate by Sasuke. He despised the Uchiha clan to his core. And yet, to his dying breath, he never realized that his friend Obito was also an Uchiha. From the author's perspective, these two actually had a pretty good dynamic. When Deidara finally made it to the Pure Land, he would have discovered it was full of Uchihas. After listening to Obito's words, Deidara's whole body trembled with agreement. Exactly. Art is an explosion, a fleeting beauty, yeah. From behind, Sasori interjected, his tone cold and firm. "I can't agree with your perspective. True art is eternal, never fading." Obito shot Sasori a sharp glare. "Dude, can you not mess this up right now?" "Ahem." Obito cleared his throat twice, turning his attention back to Deidara. "As you can see, in our Yoro organization, we have many members who are passionate about art. We've cultivated an atmosphere that encourages creativity and expression. Our group promotes the exchange of diverse ideas, sparking inspiration through dialogue and collaboration to create even greater masterpieces." Deidara's young face lit up with admiration. Obito grinned, his smile that of a sly recruiter. "Basically, it's way more exciting than staying in a Iwabikure. What do you think? Interested in joining us?" Deidara barely hesitated. "Fine, But you've got to teach me that technique you used earlier, yeah? Obito extended his hand to the young artist. No problem. Welcome aboard. Yeah. Deidara reached out his small hand, and the two shook on it. Behind them, Sasori scoffed derisively. TCH. Success. Having reeled in Deidara, Obito couldn't help but feel smug. I have to admit, this whole recruit and raise them thing is actually pretty fun. No wonder Orochimaru enjoys collecting kids so much. Speaking of which, it's about time I paid that snake a visit. Once I deal with Orochimaru, the mission should be complete. With that in mind, Obito turned to glance at his companions. Sasori looked disgruntled, Kisame wore his usual feral grin, and Deidara seemed eager and full of energy. Initially, Obito planned to take Kisame with him, leading Sasori and Deidara to team up. But given Sasori's mood, he worried the puppet master might turn Deidara into one of his puppets out of spite. Thus, Obito decided to leave Kisame behind and let the trio act together. He would handle Orochimaru himself. Land of Rice Fields, Otogekyure. In a decently equipped laboratory, Orochimaru placed a test tube onto the rack before slowly turning around to face the unexpected guest. Hiss. Long time no see, Uchiha Madara-sama. Or should I say, Uchiha Obito? Obito scoffed arrogantly, removing the white mask from his face. That Orochimaru had deduced his identity didn't surprise him. If anything, Obito would have been shocked if Orochimaru hadn't figured it out. Fixing the snake with an icy stare, Obito sneered. Seems like I'm not getting the respect I deserve. Orochimaru averted his gaze, bowing slightly in mock humility. My apologies, Obito-sama. Hidden Shadow snake hands. He suddenly raised his right arm, releasing a swarm of venomous snakes that lunged toward Obito, fangs bared. Unfazed, Obito donned his mask once more, his voice chillingly calm. You succeeded in angering me. Wooden tendrils emerged from Obito's body, viciously striking down the advancing snakes. Would release, dance of explosive spears. The razor-sharp branches pierced through the snakes' heads effortlessly. Though his attack failed, Orochimaru didn't panic. Hiss. It seems the gap between us isn't so insurmountable if I avoid those eyes of yours. Obito flexed his wrist nonchalantly, taunting the snake. Oh? Is that what you think? Taking a step forward, molten lava armor began forming around his body. Lava armor, activate, he called out internally. Orochimaru's expression darkened as he slammed his hand onto the ground. Triple Rashomon. 3 massive, demonic gates erupted from the ground, standing as barriers between the two. Hiss. This is the ultimate defensive jutsu derived from the first Hokage. You won't be able to. Before Orochimaru could finish, his smug grin froze. In a blinding display of power, Obito phased straight through the gates. Orochimaru hissed in disbelief. This can't be. Ignoring his protest, Obito clapped his hands together, laughing coldly. All right, my turn. The ground beneath their feet cracked and splintered. Would release, Hell's Frenzy. A thorn-covered tree spiraled upward, growing with feral intensity. Within moments, it consumed the entire laboratory. Orochimaru, unable to dodge in time, was ensnared and pierced by multiple branches. Af! Dangling from the tree, Orochimaru struggled futilely as Obito approached. You dare avoid my gaze? Then I'll make you look at me. Scarlet Sharingan eyes locked onto Orochimaru's. For the next 30 minutes, Obito subjected him to a relentless onslaught of Jinjutsu. When it was over, Orochimaru lay crumpled on the floor, utterly spent. Obito gazed down at him with a cold smile. Now, do you know what to call me? Orochimaru nodded weakly. Obito-sama. Orochimaru is at your service. Satisfied, Obito nodded. Good. From now on, you're a member of Yoru. At that moment, the system's voice echoed in his mind. Choice complete. Reward received, Stage 3 development. Stage 3 fully removes Kamui's physical strain on the host and grants access to advanced would-release techniques. Obito clenched his fist in excitement. Finally! Seeing his reaction, Orochimaru's expression became unreadable. I can't believe how much this guy wanted me on his team. Sometimes, being too exceptional really is a burden. Of course, Obito wasn't paying him any attention. He was lost in the thrill of his new power. The deeper integration of Hashirama's cells had significantly enhanced his physique. His chakra reserves now surged to an astounding 30 units. I might already be at the peak Kage level. For a moment, Obito felt a surge of pride. To think, I'm not even 20 yet. And I've already climbed to the top of the shinobi world. Chapter 152, Konoha Year 53. The system's smug voice echoed in Obito's mind. When Naruto was your age, he already had 6. 4 paths. If it weren't for you holding me back, System-sama, I'd have taken off ages ago. Obito snapped, clearly annoyed. I'm almost 20 now and still don't have 6 paths power. How is that normal? The system fell silent, clearly miffed. Stupid host. Why are you so mean? Fine, I'll go find another host to play with. As it turned out, the system did have somewhere to be. That summit war should be starting soon. Better go issue a main quest. Once the system stopped talking, Obito immediately felt bored. He glanced over at Orochimaru and asked, I asked you to research the Edo Tensei. What's the progress? Orochimaru, carefully tending to his injuries, bowed his head and replied cautiously, the technique is still under refinement. Some aspects need further perfection. Obito's crimson eyes flared as he glared at him. So it's not done yet? A bead of sweat dripped down Orochimaru's forehead. I humbly request more time. Obito fiddled with his mask, lost in thought. Then, with a casual tone, he asked, so what have you been working on lately? Orochimaru hissed softly, pulling a scroll from his robes. He held it up to Obito, testing the waters. Obito, my research is all recorded here. Perhaps I can demonstrate? Obito nodded slightly. Orochimaru unfurled the scroll slowly. The next moment, a cloud of smoke erupted, releasing a torrent of hidden weapons and venomous creatures toward Obito. Obito, seated casually on the crumbling lab table, didn't even flinch. He yawned. Whoosh! 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 The weapons and creatures rushed at him, only to pass harmlessly through his form, embedding themselves in the wall behind him. Obito chuckled. Not bad. You get one more chance. Orochimaru, his ambush failed, feigned admiration. As expected. Your power and composure are truly humbling. Feigning humility, he pulled out another scroll, revealing a sample of pale, fleshy material. This is my latest achievement, stabilized Hashirama cells. Surely, you're familiar with these? Orochimaru assumed Obito's would-release ability stem from the same source. Obito made a non-committal noise and held out his hand. I'll be taking that. Orochimaru obediently passed the scroll to him. But just as Obito reached for it, Orochimaru's mouth opened unnaturally wide, spitting out a sword in a lightning-fast strike. Orochimaru, I spit snakes, snakes spit swords, I spit myself, a genius cycle. However, his plan to skewer Obito didn't pan out. Clang! A molten lava shield materialized, effortlessly deflecting the sword. Obito's mocking smile widened as he tucked the scroll away. He'd been expecting Orochimaru to pull something. After all, this snake was infamous for his if I can't have it, I'll burn it antics in the original timeline. Looks like the lesson I taught you earlier wasn't thorough enough, Obito said, Sharingan gleaming ominously. Orochimaru's latest rebellion was met with another round of Sharingan-induced education that left him swearing to turn over a new leaf, again. Now then, Obito said, satisfied. Our organization still lacks a base. Your village will do nicely. Use it to establish a headquarters for Yoru. Adding a shinobi village facade to their operations would make things much easier. Orochimaru's face twisted with reluctance. This. Obito shot him a sharp look. Orochimaru quickly swallowed his protests. Understood. After a moment of hesitation, he gathered his courage to ask, Obito, about the immortality you promised me. Obito rolled his eyes. You haven't accomplished anything yet and you're already asking for rewards? You think I'm lying to you? I've mastered the secret of Hashirama's cells. Granting you immortality is trivial. Orochimaru licked his lips. And yet, the first Hokage didn't live long himself. Obito's glare sharpened. That's because he only had yang release. I wield both yin and yang release. Understand? Orochimaru nodded, though his expression remained skeptical. Good. Now get to work on the base. Nothing too extravagant, just a few thousand square meters. I'll bring the others in a few days for our first meeting. Without waiting for a reply, Obito disappeared. Orochimaru muttered to himself, yin-yang release, perhaps a new avenue for research. Half a month later. Land of rice fields, Otogekure. The former village leader's office had been transformed into Yoru's headquarters. Within the newly established base, 7 figures had gathered, Obito among them. As Orochimaru sized up the other 5 members, a chill ran down his spine. Instinct told him that, aside from the blonde kid, any of the others could kill him with ease. His lips curled into a sly smile. Hiss, this just keeps getting more fun. Obito clapped his hands, commanding attention. All right, now that everyone's here, let's start the meeting. As I've said before, I won't restrict your freedom. Do what you like, so long as you occasionally earn some money for the organization. He turned to Kakuzu. Finance Minister, the floor is yours. Kakuzu's eyes gleamed as he began speaking. I'll keep it simple. Haydn immediately plugged his ears. Not listening, just like a monk chanting. Sasori, Deidara, Orochimaru, and Kisame looked equally disinterested. Money meant nothing to them, anything they wanted, they'd just take. Obito smirked. That attitude was exactly why he put Kakuzu in charge. Let him handle the finances. At least we'll earn something. Once Kakuzu finished, Obito clapped his hands again. Meeting adjourned. Go about your business. I'll contact you if anything comes up. Feel free to organize your own gatherings, but let me be clear. His eyes narrowed. Anyone who harms a comrade will face me. Haydn hefted his scythe, already heading out. TCH, preachy as ever. Come on, Kakuzu. Kisame gave a toothy grin. Well then, we'll take our leave too. Deidara rubbed his hands together excitedly. Time to spread some art, Sasori scoffed. You still don't understand true art. Kisame chuckled, stepping between them. Now, let's agree to disagree. Humph. Both artists turned their heads away in unison, refusing to look at each other. Watching the scene, Obito felt a rare moment of sentimentality. Ah, the camaraderie of this group warms my heart as a leader. Orochimaru, tongue flicking thoughtfully, chose not to comment. After a brief reflection, Obito turned to Orochimaru and patted his shoulder. Continue researching the Edo Tensei and gathering intel for the organization. Got it? Orochimaru nodded eagerly. Understood, Obito-sama. Konoha Year 53. Land of Lightning, Kumogakure. The Raikage sat in his office, staring at a stack of reports with a furrowed brow. The past year had been eventful. Kirigakure had officially signed an alliance with Konoha. Meanwhile, a new organization called Yoru, comprising 5 S-rank rogue ninjas and 1 defiant youth, had emerged. To distance herself from Yoru, Mei Terumi had publicly declared Kisame a rogue ninja. The Raikage couldn't shake a sense of foreboding. Konoha is growing stronger by the day. The Fire Nation's alliances with the Rain and Water Nations were a significant threat to Kumogakure's safety. I need to secure an ally of our own, he mused. But who? Iwagakure? Impossible. That old fool Inoki was unreliable. Sunagakure might be a better option. Raza seems more dependable. Turning back to the reports on Yoru, the Raikage felt his frustration boil over. The organization's antics were infuriating. They'd made a habit of instigating conflicts, taking on small country war commissions at low prices, and escalating them for profit. These bastards are monopolizing smaller nations' contracts. If this continues, they might disrupt the entire shinobi system. What irritated him more was the whispered connection between Yoru and Konoha. Reliable intel suggested the ties ran deep. Konoha again. Always Konoha, he growled, clenching his fists. The Raikage's thoughts turned to Konoha's rising stars, whose strength rivaled the older generation. His hair bristled in frustration. But at least my brother and Darui have grown stronger. They won't lose to that silver-haired brat or that loudmouth punk. He firmly believed this. Chapter 153, Gossip and Gatherings. Konoha. Inside Rin's home, Obito let out a long sigh of relief. Phew. Thanks, Rin-chan. Rin waved her small hand dismissively, pointing to her mouth before heading toward the washroom. A short while later, she returned, rubbing her cheeks with her hands, and cheerfully spoke up. Obito-kun, we're going to Kakashi's for dinner tonight. Did you prepare a gift? Obito chuckled. Of course I did. The three of them had grown busier as time passed, leaving little opportunity to meet up. With the year coming to an end, they had decided to gather and celebrate together, an occasion that had become a rare luxury. It was a special night for the trio, Obito, Kakashi, and Rin. Rin nodded thoughtfully. As long as you've got a gift, that's fine. We can't keep showing up empty-handed. Obito laughed heartily. Ha! It's Kakashi we're talking about. He'd probably be thrilled if we just showed up to hang out with him. Rin, seated comfortably on Obito's lap, suddenly thought of something, her smile turning mischievous. Oh, right! Obito-kun, I've got some juicy gossip about Kakashi to share with you. Obito's eyes lit up as he eagerly leaned in. Gossip about Kakashi? Count me in, I live for that guy's secrets. Rin leaned closer, whispering into his ear with a sly grin. Apparently. 200 words later, and that's how it is. No way! Obito's jaw dropped, forming a perfect O. Isn't that girl still? Kakashi went for it anyway? He never mentioned this to me. That's just outrageous. Rin quickly clamped her hand over Obito's mouth. Shoo! Keep it down! It's just gossip, don't make such a big deal out of it. But Obito couldn't let it go. Nope, I've got to ask that guy about this tonight. The moonlight poured into the room like a silver stream, and the starry skies sparkled above. Obito glanced outside and patted Rin on the shoulder. All right, Rin, let's head out. Okay. The two got up, tidied themselves, and stepped out of the house. With a quick transformation jutsu, they disguised themselves and strolled hand in hand through the streets. Rin sighed wistfully. It's been so long since we've gone for a walk like this. Obito looked into her large, earnest eyes, scratching the back of his head guiltily. Sorry about that. Before he could finish, Rin stood on her tiptoes and planted a quick kiss on his lips. Don't be silly. I was just venting a little. I'm not upset. Obito rubbed his lips, grinning like a fool. Hee hee, Rin, you're the best. 15 minutes later, they arrived at Kakashi's house. From a distance, Obito hollered, Kakashi. Open up! Coming, Kakashi called out as he opened the door. Glancing at the time, he smirked. You're late again, Obito. Obito rolled his eyes and gave Kakashi a playful punch. Sorry, we got lost on the path of happiness. Satisfied with that excuse? Kakashi returned the punch with a grin. You've always got an excuse for being late, don't you? The two burst into laughter and embraced. Rin, standing to the side, pinched the bridge of her nose in exasperation. Can you two take this inside? Do you really need to hug it out at the door? Obito awkwardly broke away from Kakashi and grabbed both Rin and Kakashi by the shoulders, ushering them inside. When they saw the spread on the table, Obito's eyes lit up. Whoa, look at all this food! Kakashi shrugged. Dig in before it gets cold. The three, having grown up together, wasted no time with formalities and began eating and chatting. Midway through the meal, Obito turned to Kakashi, chicken drumstick in hand. So, Kakashi, I heard some rumors lately. Kakashi's hand froze mid-drink, and he nearly spilled it. Rumors? About what? Obito's grin widened. Something about you and a girl named Shinzu? Care to explain? Kakashi nearly choked. What? Who told you that? That's nothing but baseless gossip. Oh? Is that so? Obito's tone dripped with amusement as he watched Kakashi squirm. Seeing his reaction, Obito immediately knew there was more to the story. A little later, while Rin was in the restroom, Obito pulled a small book from his pocket and slipped it to Kakashi. Here's your gift. Same rules as always, read it somewhere private. Kakashi gave him an approving nod. Got it. You never disappoint. Obito chuckled but quickly shifted the conversation. By the way, have you seen Minato-sensei since you got back? Obito shook his head. With everything I'm doing now, it's better we don't cross paths. If we don't meet, he can pretend he doesn't know. Kakashi shot him a withering look. And you call that having boundaries? The entire ninja world is in chaos because of your Akatsuki escapades. Obito laughed nervously and deflected. Let's not talk about that. How's Naruto? And Itachi? Kakashi sighed. Naruto's training with Jiraiya-sama and Itachi's, well, still exceptional as always. Obito nodded, his thoughts swirling. When Rin returned, she looked at them curiously. What were you two talking about? Obito smirked mischievously. I was just telling Kakashi he should bring his girlfriend to our next gathering so we can all meet her. Rin's eyes sparkled. Yes, yes. I'd love to meet Shinzu-chan. Kakashi groaned. Rin. Don't tell me you're the one who told Obito about this? Rin raised her hands innocently. Oops, you caught me. Kakashi. Before Obito could tease him further, an urgent voice echoed in his mind. Ding! Plotline divergence detected. Important notice, due to significant plot changes, your reward thunder has been removed. Important notice, a main storyline decision has been issued. This choice will directly impact the narrative's progression. Please choose wisely, as no further decisions will be issued until this one is resolved. Chapter 154, A Sudden Turn of Events. 2 consecutive system notifications left Obito utterly stunned. I was just having a meal, how did the plot spiral into chaos like this? He frowned. Could it be that the heavens won't allow Kakashi to have a girlfriend? Even seeing a reward being revoked was a first for him. Am I being punished for encouraging Kakashi to date? Seriously? System notification, at the brink of life and death, your attacks will be imbued with the power of lightning. Obito muttered internally, the reward related to Uncle Sakumo is gone, and now I've triggered a main storyline choice, something's definitely changed. Just then, the system chimed again. Ding! The main storyline choice has been issued. Please proceed with caution. Obito swiped the screen and opened the next page to read the choices. Option 1, eliminate all Jinchuriki and harvest the tailed beast's chakra. Reward, fragmented Ten-Tail's power. Option 2, unseal the Geto statue, summon the Ten-Tails, and absorb its power. Reward, Stage 4 development. T/N, Stage 4, unlocks Hashirama's full would release capabilities. Option 3, kill Uchiha Madara, strip him of his ocular powers, and erase Black Zetsu completely. Reward, Kamui Rinnegan. After reading the options, Obito's eyes widened in shock. Kill Uchiha Madara? What does that even mean? Has Madara already been resurrected? Obito roared internally, this isn't just a plot twist, this is outright chaos. Madara's resurrection was happening a full 15 years ahead of schedule compared to the original timeline. Obito? Obito? Are you alright? It wasn't until Kakashi nudged him that Obito snapped out of it. He forced a laugh. Haha, I'm fine. I just need to use the restroom. You guys go ahead and chat. With that, he squeezed Rin's hand gently, stood up, and headed to the bathroom. Inside the restroom, Obito splashed cold water on his face, calming himself down. Staring at his reflection in the mirror, he muttered bitterly, "Oh, dear sister. I really owe you one, huh?" Even without thinking too hard, Obito could guess that Madara's early resurrection had something to do with Uchiha Setsuna. Well, there's no use crying over spilled milk. I'll just have to deal with it somehow. Taking a deep breath, Obito began analyzing the choices. Option 1 and Option 2 are essentially the same kind of task. Option 2 is tougher, so the reward is better. Option 3 isn't easy either, but the reward is roughly on par with the first two. Suddenly, a thought struck him, and he asked in his mind, "Hey, system, I've got a question. Are the actions described in these options, like harvest, absorb, and strip, things you'll handle for me? Because there's no way I could pull those off alone." The system instantly responded with a chime. Correct. These tasks will be executed by the system as part of our free service. Obito rolled his eyes. Yeah, right. Free, my foot. I bet you're skimming off the top somewhere. The system pats Obito on the head and cheekily calls him daddy. The system retorted, "Host, when did you change the notification settings? This is just plain tasteless. Anyway, trust in this system's integrity. We're renowned for being fair and honest in the industry." Obito remained skeptical. I don't buy it. Say, the system never deceives the host, and I might reconsider. The system hesitated before replying nervously, the system never deceives the host. Though, I will admit, we do take a modest 50% service fee. Half? You call that modest? Obito exclaimed. Compared to most systems that take a 90% cut, we're practically saints, the system argued. Obito was dumbfounded. 90%? That's daylight robbery. Exactly. Ugh, fine. Obito sighed, turning his attention back to the choices. Alright, system, I choose option 2. With his decision made, Obito returned to the living room. The group chatted late into the night before Obito and Rin finally headed home, or rather, to the small apartment Rin had been assigned by the hospital. As Obito played with Rin's soft hair, he grinned mischievously. Hey, Rin-chan, how about we chat a little longer tonight? Rin blushed, looking at him in surprise. But Obito-kun, haven't we already? Are you tired? Obito's expression softened. Rin-chan, I might have to leave the village again soon. I don't know when I'll be back. Hearing this, Rin nestled into his arms, nodding gently. Okay then. System notification, press F to enter a vehicle. System, get out of here. Meanwhile, at Uchiha Setsuna's secret base. In the dimly lit hall, 3 coffins stood ominously. Setsuna stood with hands behind her back, addressing Black Zetsu coldly. Are you sure this woman's body can host the Rinnegan? Black Zetsu grinned. Yes. The vessel is fully prepared. Setsuna nodded slightly. Good. Then bring her here. Turning to another figure, she ordered, Kujo Kuratsuru, go fetch Karen. Let her bid farewell to her mother. Both Black Zetsu and Kuratsuru bowed. Yes, Lady Setsuna. A few moments later, Karen and her mother were brought into the hall. Sensing the ominous atmosphere, Karen shouted, "Setsuna, what are you planning to do to my mother?" Setsuna replied indifferently, "Kuratsuru, restrain her. I don't want any disruptions." Karen struggled desperately against Kuratsuru's grip, tears streaming down her face. "Let me go! Let me go!" But as a mere child, she was powerless against the might of a former Mizukage. She could only watch through tear-blurred eyes as the events unfolded. "Let's begin," Setsuna ordered. She turned to Black Zetsu. "You'll use this woman's body to perform the outer path, samsara of heavenly life technique." Black Zetsu's face stiffened. "Lady Setsuna, surely you jest. I don't have the power to control her." Setsuna cut him off impatiently. "Don't play coy. I know you can do it. This woman has Hashirama's cells and Madara's Rinnegan. There's no way I can influence her directly." Chapter 155, The Fleeting Conclusion. Black Zetsu's voice was filled with desperation as he pleaded. "Setsuna-sama, I really can't do it." Setsuna's expression remained cold and indifferent as she replied. "Then there's no helping it. We'll have to delay Uchiha Madara's resurrection. I'll revisit it once my ocular power improves." Black Zetsu's face twisted in alarm. Delay Madara's resurrection? The longer they waited, the greater the risk of complications arising. Realizing this, Black Zetsu forced a smile and said, "Setsuna-sama, your wisdom truly sees through all matters. Since you've decided, allow me to handle it on your behalf." Setsuna scoffed, a cold laugh escaping her lips, but she did not bother to respond. Begin." Black Zetsu hesitated no longer. His form melted into a pool of dark liquid and slithered up the body of Karen's mother. Karen screamed in terror, tears streaming down her face. "What are you doing to my mother?" No one paid her any mind. Black Zetsu was focused on controlling the woman's body, while Setsuna squinted her eyes, patiently waiting for the precise moment she had foreseen. The dark-skinned woman under Black Zetsu's control opened her eyes, and a violet glow flickered within her irises. She formed the serpent hand sign and, at the cost of her life, unleashed one of the highest forms of resurrection jutsu. Outer Path, Samsara of Heavenly Life Technique. A towering figure, as vast as a mountain and radiating an aura of undeniable authority, descended upon them. This being was none other than the King of Hell, the god who bridged the living world and the Pure Land. The king opened its massive maw and released 3 souls. Having fulfilled its purpose, its colossal form dissipated, returning to the underworld. Everyone present exhaled a collective sigh of relief. The oppressive aura moments earlier had been suffocating. Green light began to radiate from the woman's body, vibrant with life energy, as it seeped into 3 coffins. The length of time required for resurrection depended on how long the targets had been dead, with greater chakra consumption and time required for those deceased longer. Soon, 2 coffins began to tremble. Moments later, their lids flew off with a deafening crash. From within stepped 2 figures, one small, a boy around 12 or 13 with delicate, refined features, and the other older, a silver-haired man exuding a dignified and commanding presence. The man gripped a short sword and immediately scanned his surroundings with guarded eyes. Suddenly, a faint red glow flashed and disappeared. "Where's this place?" the silver-haired man muttered as he turned abruptly, thrusting his blade toward the woman behind him. Lightning surged along the blade, and the man roared, "Raikiri!" Everyone present felt as though they had been plunged into a boundless ocean of blue lightning. Boom! 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 Waves of crackling energy surged forward, and in an instant, the blade was poised before the woman's chest. Black Zetsu's expression twisted in panic as he abandoned the woman's body, retreating underground without hesitation. "Now!" Setsuna barked. Her crimson eyes flared, erasing the spore Black Zetsu had planted within her body. Behind her, Kujo Kuratsuru raised his hand and conjured a water blade, plunging it towards Setsuna's chest with deadly precision. Aga! The water blade pierced through Setsuna's heart, and blood spattered from the gaping wound. At that moment, a flicker of clarity returned to Karen's mother's eyes. Setsuna-sama, remember our agreement, she whispered weakly as she manipulated the samsara of heavenly life technique to include Setsuna in its resurrection. A green glow enveloped Setsuna, and her chest wound began to close as her life force returned. Black Zetsu's sinister voice echoed from somewhere within the base. You truly are a master manipulator, Uchiha Setsuna. You waited until I was distracted to remove my spores, secretly struck a deal with that woman, and neutralized the curse mark on your heart. Impressive. Setsuna's cold laugh was laced with disdain. Spores imbued with energy stand out like beacons under my ocular jutsu. Your little trick was doomed from the start. Black Zetsu sighed dramatically. Unbelievable. How unfortunate to encounter someone as troublesome as you. My spores are undetectable to most, yet your unique ocular jutsu renders them useless. Still, I'm curious. You revived your childhood sweetheart, understandable. But why bring back Tsukumo Hatake? Are you trying to reconcile with your clan's estranged kin? A sense of unease crept into Setsuna's heart. Black Zetsu's tone was unusual, it felt as though he was stalling for time. Her eyes darted toward Karen's mother, who had already fallen unconscious, yet faint green light continued to seep from her body and into the third coffin. Ah, you've noticed, Black Zetsu said gleefully. Indeed, the samsara of heavenly life technique is irreversible. The trembling of the third coffin grew more intense. Setsuna's face darkened as the situation spiraled out of control. Retreat, she commanded sharply. If Uchiha Madara were to revive, none of them would stand a chance. Black Zetsu's voice turned icy. Now you want to run? Don't you think it's a bit too late for that? Countless white Zetsu emerged from the ground, charging forward without fear of death. Setsuna sneered. In a flash, Tsukumo Hatake reappeared beside the boy, scooped him up, and, moving with lightning speed, landed next to Setsuna and her group. Without hesitation, he activated a hidden jutsu, summoning an enormous invisible clam that enveloped them and the charging white Zetsu, vanishing from sight. Meanwhile, with a deafening explosion, Uchiha Madara shattered his coffin and stepped forth. Black Zetsu cursed under his breath. Damn it! So close! Long before the plan had commenced, Setsuna had instructed Kujo Kuratsuru to summon their summoning beast to the area, concealing it with a mirage jutsu. Although she had been confident in her plan, she always preferred to prepare for the worst-case scenario. Thank goodness, Setsuna murmured, relieved. A second's delay could have spelled disaster for them all. After dispatching a few remaining white Zetsu, Setsuna turned to Kuratsuru. This place is no longer safe. We must relocate. Kuratsuru nodded in acknowledgement. Understood, Setsuna-sama. He performed a summoning jutsu, calling forth a massive sea turtle, which began carrying the group across the waters. During the journey, Setsuna used her ocular jutsu to put Karen to sleep. She then addressed Tsukumo Hatake with a calm but resolute tone. Take Karen back to Konoha. Once you've arrived, the genjutsu on you will lift on its own. I trust you to take care of her and ensure she leads a normal life. This was my promise to her mother. Tsukumo nodded solemnly. You have my word. I'll make sure she's safe and well cared for. With that, Tsukumo cradled Karen in his arms and raced across the water, heading back to Konoha without a backward glance. Once everything was settled, Setsuna turned to the boy beside her, gently placing a hand on his face. Mayu. I've missed you so much. Mayu, the boy, hugged her tightly. He had already learned everything through the genjutsu Setsuna had placed on him, the conspiracies surrounding him and the sacrifices she had made to bring him back. Despite her actions, some of which went against the will of fire, he was deeply moved by her unwavering devotion. His throat tightened, and after a moment, he whispered. You've been through so much, Setsuna. I love you, too. Tears streamed down Setsuna's face as she sobbed. Mayu. Thank you for accepting me, even after everything I've done. Mayu gently wiped away her tears. You did all this for me. How could I ever blame you? Setsuna's voice trembled. But because of what I've done, we can never return to Konoha. Mayu chuckled softly and tapped her nose. Then we'll travel the shinobi world together. A carefree life doesn't sound so bad, does it? He gazed at her lovingly. So, Miss Setsuna, would you do me the honor of spending the rest of your life with me? As Setsuna prepared to reply, her heart pounding, Mayu suddenly burst into laughter. Though, you'll have to excuse the age gap. I'm a little younger now, so that might take some getting used to. You! Setsuna's fist collided with his ribs, nearly cracking them. Idiot! You ruined the moment. Mayu winced, grinning through the pain. Ouch, you're really strong now. Setsuna didn't respond. Instead, she silently prayed for their happiness. She hoped her cousin would accept the gift she had left behind and spare her, or at least grant her a bit more time to be with Mayu. After that, whatever happened, it didn't matter. Even if it cost her life, she would ensure Mayu's future. Smiling softly at him, she felt that all her sacrifices had been worth it. Mayu tilted his head in confusion. What are you smiling about, Setsuna? She grinned mischievously. Guess. If you get it right, I'll tell you. Oh, come on, tell me. Setsuna. Go away. Chapter 156. What? The Return of the Dead. In Uchiha Setsuna's base, a figure burst out of a coffin, erupting into uncontrollable laughter. Ha 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 ha. This vibrant body, this boiling blood. It's exhilarating. Tremble. Fear me, shinobi world. I, Uchiha Madara, your worst nightmare, have returned. Black Zetsu stood silently to the side, watching Madara's dramatic outburst with a blank expression. After a while, Madara's laughter finally subsided. Black Zetsu stepped forward, bowing respectfully. Madara-sama, congratulations on your successful resurrection. However, during your absence, our plans encountered some setbacks. Noticing Madara's growing impatience, Black Zetsu quickly added, allow me to first restore your eyes, and then I'll provide a detailed report. Madara nodded, satisfied. With Madara's permission, Black Zetsu retrieved a 3-tomo Sharingan and a purple Rinnegan, carefully inserting them into Madara's eye sockets. Once his vision returned, Madara's brows furrowed deeply. Why is there only one Rinnegan? And why does my ocular power feel significantly weaker? Is it just my imagination? He glanced at Black Zetsu and asked coldly, where is Uchiha Setsuna? Why don't I see her? Black Zetsu forced a bitter smile. Madara-sama, I was just about to report on that matter. Land of Fire. At the gates of Konohagakure, a silver-haired man stood at the entrance, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. After a moment of absent-mindedness, clarity returned to his gaze. Uchiha Setsuna. Konoha. He murmured, his tone complicated. Who would have thought that I, Hatake Sakumo, could ever return? Indeed, it was Sakumo, who had journeyed through mountains and rivers, now returning to Konoha with Karen by his side. Karen tugged nervously at Sakumo's sleeve, her voice timid. Uncle Sakumo, are we really going in? Karen had an innate fear of shinobi villages. Just seeing one reminded her of the traumatic experiences from her childhood. Sakumo sighed, gently ruffling her hair. He had learned about Karen's tragic past during their journey and felt a deep sympathy for her. There's no need to fear, little one. As long as I'm here, no one will harm you. The people of Konoha are kind and will treat you well. Not like those from Kusagakure. Karen's eyes sparkled with hope. Really? Sakumo chuckled warmly. Of course. You'll be safe here. Just live peacefully without worry. Karen hesitated, then asked tentatively. Truly? Sakumo nodded firmly. Yes, truly. While Konoha had its share of cruel and ruthless individuals, most of its shinobi upheld their principles and moral codes. Sakumo gazed at the massive gates before him, his thoughts churning. I wonder how my son and little Obito are doing. And you, Danzo Shimura, are you prepared to face judgment, you bastard? Without hesitation, Sakumo called out to the guards. Open the gate! I am Hatake Sakumo of Konoha. On the other side of the gate, two shinobi were already observing Sakumo and Karen. One of them, startled, exclaimed, "Is this some kind of joke? Who'd be foolish enough to impersonate White Fawn-sama? He's been dead for years." The other, more cautious, frowned. "This isn't something to take lightly. Izumo, stay here and keep an eye on them. I'll inform the Hokage." Kamizuki Izumo nodded. "All right, I'll handle it." After his companion left, Izumo sighed heavily. "Ugh, my first day on duty, and I get stuck with something like this." He called out to Sakumo and Karen. "White Fawn-sama, please wait a moment. We need to verify your identity." Sakumo nodded. "That's only natural." Izumo rested his hand on the hilt of his blade, curiosity overcoming him. "White Fawn-sama, if you don't mind me asking, how exactly did you return from the dead?" Sakumo shook his head. "This matter is too important to explain here. It's best if you don't know." Izumo scoffed under his breath. "TCH, playing the part pretty well, huh?" He stayed silent, while Sakumo turned his attention to Karen, engaging her in conversation to ease her nerves. After some time, Izumo noticed that Sakumo showed no signs of leaving. Does this guy actually believe he's the real White Fan? Suddenly, a flash of gold streaked past. In the next moment, Minato Namikaze, clad in the Hokage robe, appeared before Izumo. Izumo quickly bowed. "Fourth Hokage-sama, you're here." Minato patted Izumo's shoulder. "Good work, Izumo. Open the gate." Izumo, slightly stunned, nodded quickly. "Yes, sir." The gates creaked open, and Sakumo stepped through with Karen in tow. Seeing Minato, Sakumo froze briefly. "The fourth Hokage? You must be Minato Namikaze?" Minato said nothing, disappearing in a yellow flash and reappearing before Sakumo with a kunai in hand. Sakumo instinctively pushed Karen behind him, drawing his short sword. Lightning chakra crackled along its blade. Clang! 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 The sound of metal clashing echoed through the air as the two exchanged blows in rapid succession. To Izumo and Karen, the fight was a blur of gold and blue, their movements too fast to follow. A wild thought crossed Izumo's mind. To fight on par with the fourth Hokage, and with such masterful swordsmanship. Could he really be the White Fan? Minato hurled a kunai and vanished, reappearing behind Sakumo to strike. Sakumo, relying on sheer instinct, parried the attack without even turning. Minato withdrew, surprise flickering across his face. "You really are Sakumo-sensei." Sakumo sheathed his blade, smiling. "Minato, you've improved greatly. Your strength now surpasses mine." Minato scratched the back of his head sheepishly. "Sensei, you were holding back." His expression quickly turned serious. "Sakumo-sensei, let's discuss this in the Hokage's office." Sakumo nodded. "All right." Turning to Karen, he gestured for her to follow. "Karen, come along." Chapter 157, When Sweet Dreams Turn to Nightmares. Minato glanced at the red-haired girl standing to the side, his tone laced with curiosity. "Sakumo, this is..." Sakumo gently held the girl's small hand, his voice tinged with fondness. "This is Karen, a survivor of the Uzumaki clan. A girl from the same clan as Kushina." Minato nodded thoughtfully before turning to Izumo Kamizuki. "Izumo, everything that just happened must not be spoken of to anyone. Do you understand?" Izumo immediately straightened up, replying firmly. "Understood, fourth Hokage-sama." Minato gave a slight nod and placed a hand on Sakumo's shoulder. "To avoid drawing attention, I'll use the Flying Thunder God technique to take both of you directly to the Hokage's office." After a moment of consideration, Sakumo nodded slowly. That works. In the next instant, all three disappeared from where they stood. Izumo scratched his head, still reeling from what he'd just witnessed. Everything that happened today feels like a dream. Hokage's office. Minato and Tsukumo sat in stunned silence. Danzo Shimura is dead? Madara Uchiha has been resurrected? The room fell into an uneasy quiet, with both men deep in thought as the hours slipped away unnoticed. It was late into the night when they finally concluded their discussion. Tsukumo glanced at the darkened sky and spoke. Let's leave it at this for now, fourth. I think I'd like to go home. Minato's expression grew apologetic. My apologies. I didn't consider your feelings. Tsukumo waved his hand dismissively. It's fine. Given the gravity of the situation, I couldn't rest without telling you everything. About Karen, though, I'll have to trouble your wife to take care of her for now. Minato chuckled. When I brought Karen home this afternoon, Kushina was thrilled. Rest assured, she'll be in good hands. Tsukumo nodded. All right then, I'll take my leave. Good night, fourth. Good night. After Tsukumo departed, Minato massaged his temples and let out a weary chuckle. The ninja world is heading for chaos. At the Hatake residence. Dragging his exhausted body home, Kakashi balanced a book in one hand while opening the door with the other. The moment he stepped inside, he froze. There was someone else in the house. Who's there? A quiet voice echoed from the shadows. Son, it's me. Kakashi. In an instant, his anger flared. Who's the idiot breaking into my house in the middle of the night? And calling me son on top of it? He shoved the book into his pocket and drew the short sword strapped to his back, striking toward the source of the voice. Clang! The intruder parried Kakashi's blow. The cold moonlight glinting off their blades illuminated the stranger's face. Father? Kakashi couldn't believe his eyes. This isn't possible. Who are you really? Eyes red with emotion, Kakashi slashed again and again, each strike more ferocious than the last. Tsukumo said nothing, silently matching his son's attacks. After what felt like an eternity, Kakashi's grip faltered, and his sword fell to the ground with a clatter. He punched himself hard, his face twisted with disbelief. This has to be a dream. No, it's Jinjutsu. Damn it, when did this happen? Tsukumo sheathed his blade and gently pulled Kakashi into an embrace. Son, it's really me. Let me explain everything. Hearing his father's explanation, Kakashi finally accepted the truth of Tsukumo's resurrection. His emotions swirled, overwhelming and indescribable. Father, this is... I'm so happy. Tsukumo placed a comforting hand on his son's shoulder. You've been through so much all these years. I'm sorry. Kakashi's nose stung as he fought back tears. Though he was seen as the proud, aloof Kakashi to the outside world, in the solitude of night, he too felt the weight of loneliness. As he looked at his father, he silently wished, if this is a dream, please don't let me wake up. A knock at the door shattered the moment. A girl's cheerful voice followed. Kakashi, are you home? Yeah, your little kitty's here to see you. Oh no! Kakashi's expression froze. His sweet dream had instantly turned into a nightmare. Tsukumo chuckled, standing up. I'll hide for now. Go answer the door, son. Kakashi panicked. Father, wait, The girl's voice grew impatient. Hurry up. I know you're home. I even brought you some late-night braised pork I made myself. Come on, open up. Sighing in resignation, Kakashi opened the door. Shinzu, you. Before he could finish, the girl launched herself into his arms. Nya. Hee, Kakashi, did you miss your little kitty today? Kakashi felt a chill run down his spine. Death was surely near. Shinzu, could you not do this? Ignoring him, Shinzu snuggled closer, her small chest pressing against him. Yeah, why not? Don't you like your little kitty anymore? Boo-hoo, so mean. With a deep sigh, Kakashi resigned himself to his fate. A man dies twice in his life, once physically and once socially. And the latter, oh, how much worse it is. Inside the house, Sakumo listened to the interaction, a warm smile spreading across his face. Didn't expect my son to like girls like that, but as long as he likes girls, it's fine. He laughed softly to himself, recalling his old worries about Kakashi's future. Outside, Shinzu continued her antics. Kakashi, open wide. I'll feed you. Say ah. Numb to the world, Kakashi allowed her to feed him. He was beyond resistance at this point. At least now, he knew one thing for certain. This level of social humiliation couldn't possibly be a dream or jinjutsu. It was undoubtedly real life. Chapter 158, Shirsui's Crisis. Madara raised one hand and spoke indifferently. No need. Now that I have been resurrected, her existence is irrelevant. From here on, focus all your energy on completing the moons I plan. Black Zetsu bent slightly, responding respectfully, understood, Madara-sama. Madara closed his eyes, letting out a faint hum. After a moment of silence, he reopened them, his gaze deep and contemplative. Uchiha Obito, that kid turned out to be quite a promising junior. To cause such an uproar in the shinobi world, he does have a trace of my old style. Do you think this boy can be used to further my plans? Black Zetsu pondered for a moment before replying hesitantly. It seems his actions are also motivated by a desire for peace, or at least, that's what he claims. Perhaps it's worth reaching out to him? Madara nodded slightly. Very well, I'll leave this task to you. Bring him to me. Black Zetsu hesitated briefly but eventually complied. Understood, Madara-sama. The 54th year of the leaf. Not much time has passed, really. When Kakashi and the others gathered for their meal, it was already the end of year 53. In the original story, year 54 marked a tragic chapter for the Uchiha clan. Under Danzo Shimura's orders, Itachi Uchiha annihilated the entire clan in one night, leaving only his younger brother behind. But now, Itachi was sitting calmly in the Ichiraku ramen shop, quietly eating a bowl of miso ramen. Beside him, Naruto draped an arm over Itachi's shoulder, grinning widely. Thanks for the ramen, Itachi. I love this place's ramen, Databeo. Behind the counter, Tucci, the ramen chef, was encouraged by Naruto's words. He worked with such vigor it seemed he was pouring every ounce of strength into his craft. Earth! Itachi gently pushed Naruto's hand off and said evenly, You're welcome. Consider it a welcome-back gesture. Naruto laughed sheepishly. Hee hee, I haven't had a decent meal in so long. Recalling his training experiences, Naruto couldn't help but start complaining. On the road, Pervy Sage spent all our money on booze and women. He even blew my share. And when we got to Mount Myaboku, all I had to eat was bugs, half-cooked bugs, Databeo. Listening to Naruto's grievances, Itachi Sharingan almost activated out of irritation. He forcefully changed the subject. You seem to have improved a lot during this training. Naruto grinned confidently. Of course. How about a spar later? Let's see what you've got. Itachi glanced out the window, sensing something. Another time. I have something to take care of. With that, Itachi left the ramen shop. Naruto pouted. Che, Itachi's such a party pooper. Outside Ichiraku Ramen. A crow descended, landing gracefully on Itachi's shoulder. He retrieved a small note tied to its leg and unfolded it. His pupils shrank as he read the words. Itachi, meet me at the usual spot. Urgent. Come quickly. Frowning, Itachi tucked the note away and hurried toward Konoha's main gate. After finishing his ramen, Naruto walked out, patting his satisfied belly. Ah, now this is what life's about, Databeo. A short distance ahead, he spotted a familiar face and called out cheerfully, Hey, Sasuke. Long time no see. Hearing Naruto's voice, a small boy with sharp features turned around, looking surprised. "And Naruto, you're back." Naruto's expression immediately dropped. "Databao. How many times do I have to tell you, call me Big Brother Naruto?" The boy puffed out his cheeks in defiance and rolled his eyes. "No way!" Sasuke himself didn't know why. His teachers and classmates all said he was polite. But when it came to Naruto, he just couldn't bring himself to call him Big Brother. Not even if his life depended on it. "By the way, Naruto, have you seen my brother?" Sasuke asked, his tone softening slightly. "He promised to train with me, but he hasn't come back." Naruto scratched his head. "I just had ramen with Itachi. He said he had something to do and left." Sasuke pouted. "Humph. He ditched me again." Seeing Sasuke's disappointment, Naruto thumped his chest confidently. "Why don't I train with you instead? What do you think?" Sasuke gave him a sideways glance, his lips curling into a smirk. "You?" Naruto bristled at the dismissive tone, grabbing Sasuke's hand and dragging him toward the training grounds. "Come on, let's go. I'll show you what I've got, Databao." 20 miles outside Konoha. At the edge of an abandoned village, Itachi landed lightly, calling out anxiously. "Shursui, are you here?" A figure emerged from the shadows, his voice weak. "It's you, Itachi?" It was Shursui, though his current state was dire. His clothes were torn, his body riddled with wounds, at least 20 of them, varying from cuts to burns to impact injuries. Some wounds had scabbed over, while others still bled, the drops falling faintly to the ground. Itachi's heart twisted at the sight. "What happened to you, Shursui?" Seeing the injuries, a murderous intent surged uncontrollably within him. "Who did this to you?" Shursui forced a bitter smile. "It was Uchiha Madara." Itachi's eyes widened. "Uchiha Madara?" "Yes," Shursui sighed. He recounted the events of the past 2 years and the intel Obito had provided. Then, his subordinates used the Rinnegan to resurrect him. His first act after revival was an attack on Kirigakure. Hearing the story, Itachi's expression grew grim. "A legend reborn." Shursui's face was filled with sorrow. "I thought that with the Mizuki's help, we could match him, but—" Itachi patted Shursui on the back. "Enough. Let's get you back to the village for treatment. We'll inform the 4th Hokage about this." Shursui nodded heavily. "All right." Itachi helped Shursui to his feet, guiding him back toward Konoha. But before they could leave, a figure silently appeared in their path. A man with long black hair, clad in a purple and black robe layered with crimson armor, stood before them. His purple eyes, devoid of emotion, radiated an overwhelming arrogance. Just his presence alone was suffocating. Seeing the man, Shursui gritted his teeth and spat out 2 words. "Uchiha Madara." "So this is Uchiha Madara." Itachi lowered Shursui gently, gripping a kunai as he prepared for battle. Behind him, a faint red gleam flickered in Shursui's eyes. Chapter 159, A One-Sided Battle. Facing the 2 opponents glaring at him, Madara Uchiha's eyes remained calm and unwavering. "Heh, so you found yourself a partner?" he sneered. "Still haven't realized the gap between us, have you?" Standing still, Madara lazily beckoned to the 2 with a finger. "Come. Do your best to entertain me. Absolute power will be proven by me, Madara." Shursui and Itachi exchanged a serious glance, their expressions heavy. Without a word, they simultaneously formed the Tiger Seal and initiated their attack. Fire release, Dragon Flame Jutsu. 2 enormous fiery dragons roared through the air, their massive bodies stretching several meters wide as they charged fearlessly toward Madara. "Oh!" Madara's lips curled into an amused smile as he observed Shursui and Itachi moving in tandem with the fire dragons. The 2 flickered around rapidly, closing in on him from multiple angles. "Visually impressive, but you call this fire release?" he mocked, forming the same tiger seal with ease. Fire release, Dragon Flame Jutsu. Madara unleashed 3 colossal fire dragons in one breath. Each was nearly 10 meters wide, engulfing the battlefield in a sea of flames. Boom! The 3 fiery dragons intertwined, dispersing the attacks from Shisui and Itachi effortlessly before continuing their charge toward them. What chakra reserves? Both Shisui and Itachi's expressions darkened as they abandoned their attack and swiftly flickered away to avoid the overwhelming flames. Watching them scatter, Madara clicked his tongue in disdain. What a boring fight. As the flames subsided, Shisui dashed forward with a body flicker, appearing at Madara's side in an instant. Wielding his short blade enhanced by wind release, he struck with lightning speed. Madara casually shifted his body, effortlessly evading Shisui's fierce strike. Gritting his teeth, Shisui pressed on with another slash. Uchiha style, Dance of the Sun Halo. Meanwhile, Itachi provided support from afar. Fire release, Phoenix Sage Fire. Annoyed, Madara scoffed. Mere pebbles, insignificant before me. In a flash, he appeared behind Shisui, delivering a devastating punch that sent him flying. The next moment, Itachi felt a blur before his eyes as Madara reappeared in front of him, his legs swinging out with terrifying speed. Boom! Itachi was sent hurtling through the air, landing heavily beside Shisui. Cough, cough. Struggling to rise, Itachi helped Shisui to his feet. We're no match for him, Shisui whispered urgently. You need to escape. I'll hold him off. Itachi remained silent, supporting Shisui as he stared at their overwhelming opponent. The gap in power was suffocating. Madara hadn't even fought seriously, merely toying with them. Laughing, Madara dusted off his armor. Ha ha ha, with those Sharingan, how far can you see? Why not join me and help restore the glory of the Uchiha? Over my dead body. Shisui growled through gritted teeth. Even if it costs me my life, I'll stop your ambitions. Clapping mockingly, Madara smirked. Not bad. As expected of my Uchiha clan's youth, such spirit is admirable. With casual steps, he approached them, the oppressive aura around him growing stronger. Very well, as you wish. The pressure of Madara's presence hit them like a tidal wave, each step he took seemingly crushing their hearts. We have no choice. Shisui muttered, stepping in front of Itachi. Susanoo. Black, four-bladed shuriken spun into existence amidst the blood-red haze. Green chakra ignited like flames, taking the shape of a colossal skeletal frame in front of them. Muscle and sinew formed over the bones as Susanoo's armor took shape, completing the transformation. Madara didn't interrupt, watching with an entertained smile. Finally, something worth my time. Shisui pushed through the pain, his voice low but resolute. Susanoo, storm arrows. Susanoo's chest plate opened, revealing a spinning orange-yellow magatama. Countless green arrows shot forth, raining down toward Madara in an overwhelming barrage. This is more like it, Madara chuckled as vibrant blue chakras surged around him. A towering warrior, dwarfing Shisui's Susanoo, materialized before him. Itachi's eyes widened in shock. This was beyond anything he had ever imagined. Madara's Susanoo loomed over them, its presence suffocating. Compared to Shisui's, it was like a giant facing a child. The incoming arrows struck Madara's Susanoo, their impact ringing out like a futile cry. Ding! 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 Not a single mark was left on its armor as the arrows dissipated into nothingness. In a final, desperate move, Shisui roared. Susanoo, Windfire Pierce! Susanoo's spiral sword, wreathed in flames and wind, rotated at high speed as it lunged toward Madara's giant. Susanoo, Blade Strike! Madara's warrior drew its sword, slashing downward in one smooth motion before sheathing it once more. A brilliant flash of light split the battlefield, cutting through Shisui's Susanoo as if it were paper. Crack! Shisui's Susanoo shattered, and blood spurted from his mouth. Shisui! Itachi cried out, rushing to his side. Disappointed, Madara sighed. How pitiful. Can't even dance properly? Shursui pushed Itachi away weakly, blood dripping from his lips. Run. Itachi, now! Before Itachi could react, a blade pierced through Shursui's chest from behind. Shursui! Seeing his comrade collapse, something deep within Itachi snapped. Unlocked by despair, power surged into his eyes. Amid the blood-red haze, the three tomo of his Sharingan spun, merging into a new shape, a black, trident-like Mangekyo Sharingan. Chapter 160, I Triggered Itachi. So this is the Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi muttered under his breath. Despite obtaining this legendary power, there was no trace of joy in his expression. His dearest friends, his brothers in arms, lay lifeless before him. And he had done nothing to stop it. The terror of Uchiha Madara's strength was beyond comprehension. Even with the Mangekyo Sharingan awakened, the chances of defeating him were slim to none. While Itachi wallowed in grief, Madara stood a short distance away, arms crossed and an amused smirk plastered on his face. He seemed to revel in the agony of breaking his opponent's spirit. To take pleasure in an enemy's suffering. That's the battlefield's true rose. Staring at Shursui's lifeless body on the ground, Itachi murmured. Shursui, I might not be able to avenge you after all. Him? Just as he was consumed by despair, Itachi noticed Shursui squinting, sneaking a quick glance at him. Itachi? If not for his Mangekyo, he would have doubted his own eyes. Shursui? Internally panicking, Shursui forced his eyes open with great effort and, in a weakened tone, said, Itachi, you must live well. I am about to die. Aya! With a dramatic scream, Shursui shut his eyes once more. Itachi felt completely baffled. Something didn't add up. Pfft, ha ha ha. The previously stoic Madara burst into laughter, unable to hold it in any longer. Itachi glanced at Madara, who was clutching his stomach, laughing uncontrollably, then back at the dead Shursui, whose body was trembling ever so slightly. Shursui, get up. Itachi's voice was calm but tinged with irritation. I'm dead, I'm dead. Shursui kept his eyes closed, continuing to play dead. Get up! Itachi snapped in a low, embarrassed tone. Oh! Shursui obediently rose to his feet, offering a sheepish smile as he noticed the Mangekyo spinning in Itachi's eyes. Hee hee, looks like I got found out, huh? Turning to Madara, or rather, Obito, he complained. It's all your fault, Obito, laughing like that. My fault? Obito pointed at himself in disbelief. You're the one who blew your own cover first, Shursui. Itachi's frosty gaze turned to the pair. You two, better give me a good explanation. Feeling the chill from Itachi's glare, both of them felt their necks stiffen. Simultaneously, they pointed fingers at each other, blurting out. It was his idea. Obito. Shursui. After a long interrogation, Itachi finally pieced together the story. Madara had indeed been revived, and the entire ninja world could soon be thrown into chaos. Thus, the two brothers devised a plan to stage an act, using Madara's revival as the backdrop to push Itachi into awakening his Mangekyo Sharingan and strengthening his resolve. Their motive? Officially, it was to help Itachi grow stronger. Unofficially, Itachi suspected they simply found it amusing. Shursui offered a more detailed explanation. Under the influence of my Betsugen Kami, you focused entirely on the enemy in front of you, subconsciously ignoring other details. Itachi's expression turned contemplative. No wonder something had felt off, but he never stopped to analyze it. For instance, how had Shursui escaped from someone as powerful as Madara? Or why had Shursui summoned him out of Konoha instead of directly delivering the intel? Everything had been deliberately orchestrated. If it were any other time, I would have caught on to those anomalies, Itachi thought. Obito chimed in. If not for Betsugen Kami, my disguise wouldn't have fooled you for a second. He grinned, adding, By the way, how was my acting? Pretty convincing, right? Shursui interjected eagerly. And mine? Mine was great too, wasn't it? Itachi let out a cold snort. I understand your intentions were for my benefit, but I hope such antics won't happen again. Both of them mumbled apologetically. It won't, it won't. Itachi nodded, his gaze shifting to Shursui's profusely bleeding wound. Shursui, your injury. Shursui glanced at the gaping wound in his torso and waved dismissively. We made it realistic, that's all. Don't worry about it. Itachi was stunned. Are you sure? You've lost almost a basin of blood. Don't push yourself too far. Obito coughed twice before explaining. Shursui isn't in danger because of the Hashirama cells. Hashirama cells? Itachi echoed, puzzled. Obito elaborated. They're cells harvested from the first Hokage. Once implanted, they enhance the body, improving vitality, energy, and other perks. Pulling out a scroll, Obito continued. Recently, I acquired a batch of Hashirama cells. You two can split them. With a sly grin, he added. Since Shursui already got stabbed, we don't need to make another cut. Shursui froze. Obito. You didn't plan that stab ahead of time, did you? Obito slung an arm over Shursui's shoulders with a chuckle. Of course I did. You're my precious cousin, who else would I take care of like this? Shursui gave a hollow laugh. Sure, Obito, you're just full of love for me. Naturally, Obito smirked, unfurling the scroll. As the seal was undone, a white, viscous substance appeared. Obito scooped up some and slathered it on Shursui's wound. The white tendrils writhed and swiftly closed the injury. And the rest goes to Itachi, Obito announced. Itachi hesitated, eyeing the white mass. How, do I? Don't worry, Obito reassured. We'll handle it for you. Obito stripped off Itachi's shirt, while Shursui pulled out a kunai, swiftly making a small incision. Itachi winced, inhaling sharply. If not for his trust in the two, he would have doubted their intentions. Shursui, here. Obito passed him a lump of Hashirama cells. Shursui pressed the cells onto Itachi's wound, watching as the white substance merged seamlessly with his flesh. Remarkable, Shursui noted. Itachi's body isn't rejecting the cells at all, they're integrating perfectly. Obito nodded, patting Itachi on the shoulder. Now that you've awakened the Mangekyo, remember this, using its abilities strains your body significantly. The Hashirama cells can mitigate that, but only to a certain extent. Understand? Itachi nodded solemnly. I understand. That's the end of this tale for now. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in part 9.